Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horror review. Tonight, we're discussing movies depicting the original Dark Lord himself, Count Dracula. Officially, a Guinness World Record holder, having been betrayed 162 times to date, and the audience showing no sign of getting tired of the Transylvanian bloodsucker. Here, we'll attempt to break down his cinematic appearance over the centuries. And to help me out tonight, I have the wonderful Steve Knight and Gene Baker. Welcome, gents, and thank you very much for coming on.
No problem. Glad to be here.
Yeah, good to see you again, Colin.
Steve, this was actually your idea to do that. It was a good month, nearly 2 months ago. You popped the idea, then looked at it and went, whoa, this is big. Might take a wee bit of time to plan this one out.
You thought it would be a series like EastEnders over years and years and years, didn't we? But
what brought it to mind, anyway?
I just liked Dracula, and I thought, well, we've got all these actors, in these different films of Dracula. Just who does everyone think was the best one, and what was the best film? Because everyone's going to have their opinion, and in some of the Dracula films I've watched are absolutely appalling. But does that make me different from, because I'm an old sort of black and white stroke early Hammer film type of horror person, and whereas someone else who might come in who's, say, younger than me and might like the up-to-date ones like Gary Oldman onwards. I do enjoy some of the comedy ones that take the mickey, like Dead in Loving It, and I thought Renfield was good.
Yeah, that went right up there for me. We'll talk about that. And Jane, this the sort of vampire lore, that's something that influences your writing, sort of the gothic style, and you sort of bring in that there. What was it attracted you to Dracula and brought you into sort of wanting to talk about him?
Well, of course, I'm old as mud, and I remember when back in the 50s we had a late night television show that played all the old Universal monsters, and immediately when I saw Dracula, I was just totally enthralled, and I wanted to know more. So I went and I actually went to the library and checked out all the books. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley and Bram Stokers' Dracula, and ever since then, vampires, in particular, the Victorian type era vampire story really has attracted me.
It's an interesting time in British history, actually, Queen Victoria's reign. It's seen on one hand as like one of the most brutal, dehumanizing sort of reigns where people are treated like dirt, but also the most progressive simultaneously. It's odd time to be alive back then. Like I don't think anybody ever want to go back and actually live in Victorian times unless you were absolutely filthy rich.
Yeah.
Because anything below living in a mansion, you were flipping just jumped on. It was but then at the same time, that's where a lot of the social schemes and initiatives came apart that lift the poor out of poverty, while simultaneously having workhouses where kids were literally worked to death.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that sort of environment. Only from that can Dracula arise.
Yeah, and Bram Stoker used the character and the characters in Dracula as a sort of social commentary, with Dracula being the bloodsucker aristocrat that preyed on the lower classes, so to speak. And it was a very heavily laden with social commentary. And you can take Charles Dickens.
I thought nobody spoke about social commentary until 2016.
Say again?
I thought nobody ever mentioned social commentary or talked about anything.
Oh, no, they didn't mention it.
All the youngsters came to save us all.
Oh, no. No, so no one mentioned it until like 2016. You know, it was just sort of indicated.
Sorry, just kids today just make me laugh. We've always talked about the state of humanity since we've been humanity,
Yeah,
and Count Dracula is just one of those allegories. You know, it's just the perfect storytelling device.
Yeah.
He has been relatively unchanged though in all his time. Every other character you can think of has been revamped, rehashed, reimagined, done different ways. And obviously the vampire genre, and I've voiced my complaints about it, has become this homogenous mess with zombies and, you know, all that kind of stuff that you can't tell the difference now between a vampire, werewolf, or a zombie. But Count Dracula himself has remained basically unchanged, apart from maybe one or two comedy skits.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a genuine fear of insulting him and he'll come for you? Do you think that's what keeps the peasants at bay, especially in Hollywood?
I think there's a lot of respect for like the older monsters like Dracula and Frankenstein and the Wolfman.
Yes.
You know, and I don't think anybody in their mind could think, how can we change this character? Because he's a vampire. He's the original Nosferatu, you know, that he's bite your neck sort of thing. And well, what else can you change from a vampire? I mean, some have tried like the chopping off the heads and all things like this, but it all comes back to he gets killed by a stake in the heart or the crucifix or sunlight. What else can they kill him with? And I think it's a big respect thing to say we just can't change him. We're going to stick a roundabout to the book because there is that argument, isn't it? Some of the Draculas are not close to the novel, and some are right for its life.
Yeah, well, that's one thing actually we'll talk to in a bit, because I've tried to broke it down into a couple of categories, because obviously 117 movies plus over 6 decades, you know what I mean? Nearly 2 centuries worth of storytelling. You're going to get variation.
Yeah.
But even the variations aren't, you know what I mean? You go, that's Dracula.
Yeah.
What is it about him? You know, like I said, it's a quintessential character, but people still today are mesmerized by the character of Dracula.
Yeah.
And people still go to the cinemas to see a new film about Dracula. You know, it's a thing like people will go and see a new James Bond film because it's like a series, and if there's a new Dracula film, be it good or be it bad, you know, they'll think I'm still going to the cinema to see this, or streaming it, or whatever the case might be these days. Again, no matter how good or how bad it is, and it's just it's like a similar obsession to being apartheid to, you know, loving James Bond. People love Dracula, and it's
and I mean, he's the ultimate bad boy, you know. I mean, anybody that ever lost a high school love to the leather wearing outsider bad boy knows that where women are concerned, that image is very attractive. You know, he's sexual, he's powerful, he's wealthy. I mean, and he just is virtually invulnerable. And that ultimate bad boy image, I think it's forever. I mean, and guys, they go to see it to try and say, well, this is what chicks really dig. I want to be like that, you know. So I think that has a lot to do with his longevity and his constant attraction.
Yeah, because like they've done it. Obviously, they've had straight out monster vampires. Yeah, and they've had brain dead vampires. Have done weird stuff with the vampire genre. But
Mhm.
Count Dracula himself, I'd almost say I don't want to tempt fate. Like somebody will try, but because they're burning through like Hollywood at the moment is creatively bankrupt and they're burning through everything. But even through all the fads and remake, rehashes, reboots, that character stayed the same. Like almost to the clothing, to the mannerisms, like even the different actors who played him try the same mannerisms. What do you think? If you were ever asked to play Dracula, how intimidating would that be? Not play a vampire, but if you're ever going, right, you've got one acting gig, this will set you up for life forever. But you're playing Count Dracula.
I think seeing some of the brilliant actors that have played him. I mean, if you take Christopher Lee, I mean, that guy is just so versatile. I was looking at a list of all his films. I mean, you're talking, he's played Frankenstein.
Yeah.
His monster.
And he never played a powerful Frankenstein. He played a pathetic, weak Frankenstein. If you, because it was actually, was it Peter Cushing or Vincent Price? Peter Cushing wasn't played Frankenstein himself.
Yeah.
And basically treated him like a dog, and Christopher Lee played that character, and had somebody else demean them, where in the next instance he's like the Count, or he's like the ultimate villain.
But the versatility of Christopher Lee, I mean, Fu Manchu. He was in Fu Manchu.
Mm-hmm.
He was in one of the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movies when he was the father of Charlie, wasn't he, and the dentist. And then you're talking
that was the one with Johnny Depp, wasn't it?
Yeah.
God, I almost forgot. God, that was a terrifying scene.
Yeah.
That was a bloody terrifying scene. It was a father and son bonding moment. God, I almost forgot about that.
Yeah.
Like I went to a dark place, That's right. He's looking at his man going, just fine. And you're like, I'm brushing, sir. Yes, sir. Even in Sleepy Hollow, remember he played the judge? That was the first time I'd seen him in film. Like he'd taken a break, and that was the first time in film movies. And I'm like, in the summer, Christopher Lee. Oh yes, I'm behave, sir. Yes, I'm sitting up straight. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm not doing anything naughty.
Absolutely, yeah. I have a warm place, of course, for the first Dracula, Bela Lugosi, but Christopher Lee really took it to a whole different level. And like you say, he's so versatile. He played in James Bond movie,
The
Wicker Man,
the man with the golden gun. Yeah. And I mean, everything. He's just really a good actor. And
Saruman in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I don't think Saruman would have been the same if it had been anybody else.
No, that's right. He's just such a powerful, and you look at him and you don't sort of, Christopher Lee, you don't say, he's Dracula, because he's done so much. You say, he was Count Dracula in that film, he was Saruman in that film, he was Lord Summerall in that film, and you just can't pin him down and typecast him to anything.
Right.
Whereas like Roger Moore was either the Saint or James Bond. I can't,
that
was it. Whereas Christopher Lee's, it's got such a huge career and of different film parts that you just can't tie him down to.
Well, Christopher Lee has played Dracula the most at 9 times.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that surprised me. Bela Lugosi only played Dracula twice.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's played vampire characters 4 times, including Dracula.
Yeah.
But the other 2 times he played a vampire character were not Dracula because of copyright.
Yeah.
But not Dracula, but is Dracula sort of thing. But he's only officially played Dracula twice, which really surprised me.
Yeah. He was typecast for the rest of his life as Count Dracula. And no matter what he did after that, he was even buried in his Count Dracula costume after he died. So
is that the power? This is this sort of thing I'm trying to put out here. Is it the power of the character of Dracula and whoever inhabits them, or is it the actor's portrayal of a particular character makes that happen?
Well, with me, it's the actor. I mean, it's got to be an actor that really gets into the role and just really lives it. And Christopher Lee did that. And I don't think that there's really very many people that actually have been able to do that. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, with Christopher Lee, it's like he knew the part inside out. Again, he didn't live the part totally, because in between each of his Dracula films, he was in so much else. Except Fu Manchu and everything. But if you only got to look at Christopher Lee in the films when his eyes are going bloodshot, and he is the Dracula in that film. And he's scary with it. He was, it should scare the living daylights out of me in the 70s when the double bills of Hammer Horror were on BBC Two on Saturday night. It's just like, oh my God, his eyes are red. And he was a really scary looking person.
Yes, he was.
Or character. But
that sort of command and presence. Bela Lugosi, I think what ruined it for him was White Zombie.
Yes,
because there he basically plays Count Dracula, but not Count Dracula.
Yeah,
and then I think that's where he got typecast, because it's like, is this all this guy can do?
Yeah.
And then it's not so much the fans, because obviously it's only today that the fans have a direct link to the creators, more so than ever. Mm-hmm. You even think 10 years ago, that would have been unthinkable. What, a fan can go and talk to a Hollywood director and, give their opinion. So this was, he got typecast in the minds of the studio producers and agents, and that was it. Not, I don't think that happened to a lot of people back in the day.
Yes, it did.
No, they did one character really well, and then that was it. Just because of a small group of people, they go, well, this is our Dracula guy, this is our Frankenstein guy, this is our blah, blah, blah. Like Boris Karloff happened to him.
Oh, yeah, Boris Karloff.
And he did a lot of other films, Boris Karloff, even though people just think of him as Frankenstein.
I would argue that Boris Karloff is actually more ranged of an actor than Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
Boris Karloff, he didn't ever play Dracula, but he did play a vampire.
Yeah, he played a vampire, not Dracula.
Right. Yeah.
And if you take Lon Chaney Jr., he played Dracula once, I think it was. Yeah. But I know him as the Wolfman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was and again, it's on my part, I'm typecasting the guy, because he wasn't Dracula to me until I was checking up on all the Draculas. I didn't even know he played Dracula. Because to me, Lon Chaney Jr. was the Wolfman.
Yep. Yeah. He played the Mummy. He played in one movie version, he played the Mummy, and but yeah, he was always typecast.
Yeah.
It's really sad because he was a good actor.
Yeah.
I suppose as well, cinema being a limited, more limited than it is now. So when something appeared in the cinema, the movie theater, it was a massive event. And I would say people were more risk averse back in the 1920s or 30s. They actually put something on the big screen because of the undertaking it would have been than now.
Yeah. You used to have the old news before the...
That's right, yeah.
Before the... Not that I was there.
Remember intermissions as well? They used to do those.
Used to get 2 films in the cinema. Yeah, with each showing. So, yeah.
God, not neither. You're in, you watch half an hour of ads, even from the start time.
Yeah.
And then flipping movie done, out. Lights are on before the credits even start.
Yeah.
I was going to tell you, out, right, next.
Yeah.
Conveyor belt.
Yeah.
There's an interesting one. Which of today's actors that hasn't yet portrayed Dracula would do a good job? God. We'll get on that. Nicolas Cage really surprised me.
I was really dreading it.
I was blown away.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Nicolas Cage will do anything. I mean, it's been so long since he really had a really good movie role, and yeah, I was kind of surprised at
I was expecting campiness the whole way through.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting what that was, that Renfield movie. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. I must say it totally surprised me. But
be a good track because most actors today are rubbish.
Yeah.
Most of them are just roided up flipping bubbleheads with no charisma.
If we take the PC avenue here, because we're possibly getting a black James Bond, there's been rumor about that. There's a black.
I honestly think they do that just to stir it up.
Yeah,
I don't think they have any intention of doing that.
I think
like that last one, I didn't even watch it anyway because I didn't like Daniel Craig bored me to tears. I like Casino Royale, but sad Bond just got my nerves.
Yeah.
Like I'm depressed over the hill, but all right, okay, right, yes, forget it. You hate male heroes, blah blah blah, all that stuff. But they tried this with that other character and it didn't land well at all.
I thought Skyfall was good.
Yeah, but once again, this whole broken Bond thing, just but they've been doing that with all like heroes, any sort of thing. But back to my original question at the start, they are prepared to do this with any character, but even throughout history, they're afraid to do it with Count Dracula.
Yeah,
and I wonder if there is actually a supernatural reason of I'm not going to annoy the Dark Lord by not doing respect.
Yeah.
I actually, why people, we try to go, this is the 21st century. We're not suspicious at all. Yeah, right. That's why horror is winning. Every other franchise is burning the rubble and falling apart, and horror is just going stampeding on.
Oh, yeah.
We don't need virtue signaling. That's what I keep trying to say. We don't need the virtue signaling. We do not care what you are. You're welcome as long as you're respectful to the, material and you're actually a fan.
Yeah.
There's more than enough opportunity you want villains like they've done like Blackula or Vampire Brooklyn. They've done Black Dracula.
Yeah.
But it only works as a comedy.
Yeah.
So it's already done. So
that's one of my worst films of all time was Blackula. I was like, are you kidding?
Gonna top that. Seriously going to top that because the one I'm bringing in is, oh my god. I didn't think it was possible to die of cringe.
Yeah.
But watching the movie I'm going to talk about, oh god, I was like, no more. Please stop.
Yeah.
I'll shut down the podcast. It's not worth it. This is painful.
Commercially, Blackula was a good commercial moneymaker.
But once again, it was done with respect again.
Yeah.
Once again, that went with this is not Dracula, but if it was, we're doing like this. But it's not Dracula. Please, Dark Lord, we're not making fun of you. That's what I'm trying to say. There's still that presence of the character that people are afraid of Count Dracula. not studios, not fans, nothing else. But am I coming through in somebody's speakers there?
No, is it me?
Don't know. I'm hearing my voice back.
Yeah, you're breaking up.
Oh, I think it might be Gene.
Yeah. Gene is a bit loud.
We didn't pay homage to the internet god tonight. We forgot. Yeah, I think you're just breaking up.
I need to cut down my.
It's the I'm getting a bit of feedback. Just
okay. All right. Let me Let me
Have you
turn
earphones?
the volume down on my. Huh?
Yeah, sometimes if the speaker's too close to the mic, you get like a feedback loop.
I don't have any earphones.
Oh, well, no worries. Just as long as the speakers are away from the microphone.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah,
the speakers are in my computer here, so
Right.
I'll see if I can make some other arrangements here.
Don't worry. Listen, that's just
In the meantime,
Funny enough, mobile phones have it sorted out where the microphone and speaker works, but they still haven't built that technology on the laptops or tablets.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Mine's all right.
Yeah, but that's what I'm
that.
saying. Do you think there's still this actual fear of the character of Dracula in real life?
In real
Why
life,
people tread carefully?
oh, yeah.
I think there is.
Bit like people fear God sometimes, you know. Oh, I can't possibly do that because God.
Yeah, because it's not about upsetting people; it's about upsetting and bringing the actual wrath. You know,
yeah.
If that's true, I just think it's hilarious because, especially today, where people want to deconstruct everything, how can you deconstruct Dracula? The most evil character, like. They've done vampires as tragic, you know, repentant. There's no repentance by Dracula whatsoever. He relishes in what he is.
Yeah.
That's what makes him so terrifying.
Yeah, and if you take the Christopher Lee series of Draculas, he just didn't die. You know, there was the one Dracula's risen from the grave. He was
Dracula Prince of Darkness. Actually, he came back like 3 times.
He was in the ice, and the priest went up fell over, and all his blood went down through the ice and resurrected Dracula. And you think this guy just doesn't die, you know? And why can't I be like Dracula?
Funny, they made the joke about that in Renfield because they chopped him up and put him in concrete like cubes, like ice cream trays and stuff. But like, don't know how long it'll take for him to get back from this one, but might take him a while.
Well, I'm going to see if I can, if by moving closer to my Wi-Fi settings, I'll be able to do better.
That's actually 100 times better, believe it or not, just there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Yeah, the internet gods are fickle indeed. Sometimes they giveth, you know, other times they're just like, nah, you're not playing tonight.
Someone behind you there, Gene.
It's Dracula making sure you're being respectful.
Spouse. That's my spouse. That's my tanny bug.
Hello. So I'll kind of thought. Yeah, go for it.
I'm just going to add in there, you know, as to what the question is, as to what actor, modern day actor, I would want to play Dracula. I really can't think of any. I mean, Ryan Reynolds is getting ready to play the Wolfman, the redo of the Wolfman. You know,
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
God, Ryan Reynolds. He can't act anything but Ryan Reynolds.
I think it was Ryan.
No, it's Ryan Gosling.
Ryan
Gosling. Oh, okay. But,
Ryan Reynolds has one character, and that's himself.
Yeah.
Do you remember he was in Blade Trinity? So he's faced up against Dracula as Ryan Reynolds, because that's like even then he was Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. There's only one person that loves Ryan Reynolds. It's Ryan Reynolds.
You got that right.
Oh no! In fairness, I'll give him props. He was good in the Amityville remake. He was actually good in that one.
Yeah, I didn't
showed a
see
bit of
that.
range.
Yeah, didn't see that one.
For a remake, it was actually decent.
I'm very much a why reinvent the wheel person. You know, see that's
yeah. Well, when you have a podcast, you have to talk about it. So you know what I mean.
I did like the 1979 one with James Brolin and everything. And I'm very much. But saying that, Dracula is different. It's. I'll go and watch another Dracula film without the same. Whereas I wouldn't have gone to see the remake of the Amityville horror. I think it was something to do with when I went to see the remake of Psycho, and I thought, what a piece of junk this is.
Oh,
And
God.
from then on, I just won't go and see remakes.
Oh, that's when they did the 3-film series, wasn't it?
No.
Psycho.
They did Psycho
Didn't they
1,
do
2,
3 of
3,
those?
and 4, didn't they? But that was with Anthony Perkins. But then they did a Psycho remake with Vince Vaughn as the Psycho. And it was a frame-by-frame remake of the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I probably skipped that one, to be honest.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I think I skipped that one.
Just lost all the original 1960 sort of tense scariness. But that's I just don't. That's why I didn't see the remake of the Amityville horror anyway.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm trying to think of a modern actor as well. And I'm at loss.
Yeah.
Who used to be really good? Tom Hardy used to be good, but now he's just evolved into one character now.
Yeah.
He used to have range, and he's bulked up for roles and he's slimmed down for roles. But now he's just this like one East End gangster type character, this, using the same voice and all.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shame the way he's went. Do you know what the problem is? Trying to ask me who a good actor is today.
Are there any?
Are there really?
Gary Oldman's still has already done it. So
Morgan Freeman is still...
Morgan Freeman's just Morgan. He's like Samuel L. Jackson, that at the beginning, because when they were just new out, people were like, oh, these are good, and then over time you realize they just play the one bloody character themselves. Like Ryan Reynolds, it's just a Morgan Freeman movie who just acts exactly the same.
Yeah.
Same as Samuel L. Jackson, just acts like Samuel L. Jackson. There's nothing to do about him. If you were going to do a black Dracula and somebody who can actually act, Denzel Washington would have a good crack at it.
He'd have a good crack at it, but
I don't say he'd pull off, but the only one I could think of would actually make an attempt.
He's the wrong temperament to play Dracula. He comes across as too cool to play Dracula.
But he's played various roles as well. He's not, he's obviously known for like the Equalizer and suave roles, but he's also played like gutter rats and field workers and like all sorts of weird. He's played weird, wonderful characters. He's actually a good range.
He was in that. Was he a train driver in? Am I thinking of the wrong person?
Training Day.
No, the one where the train was couldn't stop.
Blue Streak or Silver Streak or something.
No, it was Unstoppable.
That was Samuel L. Jackson. Whatchamacallit? Bruce Willis, wasn't it?
No,
that's Unbreakable. God, so many words.
Unstoppable, it was called. It was. Let me just check who was in it. Unstoppable.
But he's there's very few actual actors today.
Yeah, it was Denzel Washington and Chris Pine, and it was about based on a true story, directed by Tony Scott. A runaway freight train, based on true.
Yeah, probably skipped that one. But yeah, he's only one with sort of range. God, I had another thought in my head there.
The one actor that has recently done Dracula really well, I would say, was Luke Evans in Dracula Untold. Have y'all seen that one?
Yeah. And once for anyone that's not familiar, obviously Dracula is loosely based on the historical character of Vlad the Impaler.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's where he sort of gets his root from, because of God, when was it? Oh shit! All my histories went out the window. I was in school. What was it he faced?
That the Impaler.
It wasn't the It wasn't the Mongols.
It was the Ottoman Turks.
Yeah, that was at the Ottoman Empire.
Right.
I was thinking 300, and I was drawing a connection between that and Xerxes, but I knew it was like way ahead of time. It was like 500 years after the sort of the original, of Xerxes. It was the Ottoman Empire came after, got born out of that. I can't remember what Xerxes' army was called. It wasn't the Ottoman, but the Ottomans came afterwards. Yep. Thanks. I was struggling there. I was on a sort of rattling about back there at the back of the head.
The only reason I remember it is because the history behind it is because I work with a woman from Bulgaria, and she is really reacquainted me with the whole history and culture of that part of Europe. And so, yeah, that's really the only reason I had any kind of idea about what, the historical Dracula was based on.
Mm-hmm.
You're going back to something like the 15th century, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Something like that, isn't it? Yeah. If I remember rightly where I read it. Yeah. It's quite an old thing to base it on, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
All myths come out of
When
somewhere.
it wasn't written by Bram Stoker until what? Late
1890 something.
Yeah.
I think it was like 1807.
So
the end of the 19th century, it was like right in the cusp of the.
Yeah. Well, J.S. Lefanu wrote Carmilla in the early 1800s. And that story had a lot to do with, you could see where, I don't know if Bram Stoker borrowed from that story, but they were very close in their portrayal of vampires, vampirism, Eastern Europe, etc. And remains one of my favorite vampire stories, really.
Well, the vampire lore has been around since the dawn of time, but once again, vampire lore and the idea of bloodsuckers, same as zombies, now have always been around. Every culture you'll find
just going to put
similarities. You'll find similarities,
right?
But the character of Count Dracula is distilled. It has taken that folklore, taken those points of history, and it's distilled into this heinous, evil, unrepented character, and it's lasted lasted flipping over a century's worth of films. Oh, there's Calvin.
Oh, yeah.
Greetings, getting everybody on tonight. We were just talking about we reviewed Jesus I Was Evil there on Sunday. Need to check your sound, mate. Whisper. I'm flipping trying to hear movie. Whatever happened with the editing, flipping sound was just non-existent. That was a fun one. Funny enough, 7th Street Productions, they did Meeting Vampires from the Planet Neptune. That was an interesting one. But we'll love, we'll love vampires. We'll love like the original sort of creatures. But the personification of Count Dracula himself, like that has been something unique. It's been something created out of, like we all get inspiration of different ideas, but that character is just pure iconic.
Yeah, but don't you think, especially character going back to then, you've got to think what was going through the author's mind to come up, especially in like late 1800s, with things like Count Dracula, blood-sucking vampire, and Frankenstein, this person made up of different body parts. when Hollywood today can't even come up with anything original like that. You know, it's
funny enough, that was the question I posed. Cameron and I were talking on Sunday, and that was the question I posed. At what point did it stop? Because another thing that's led in this conversation, obviously, the remake of The Wolfman. When did Universal Monsters stop making Universal Monsters?
Yeah.
What was the last one? When did they actually just put the brakes on and go, oh no, that's it, can't create anything else?
I think it all started with the Marvel verse.
I think it was before
that. The Marvel Comics universe, where they make everything. I can see Renfield, speaking of that movie, Renfield, I can see where they're going to include Renfield in the Marvel verse, where he'll be with Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and then you have Renfield,
Didn't they do a vampire one?
That's he's I can't remember the name of him, but there is a vampire in that.
Never watched it. Like, I give up.
How Renfield associates with that. What is his name? I'll have to look that up. I will definitely have to look.
He was an interesting character to play Renfield. Actor, because God, I can't forget Warm Bodies. Like, that was atrocious.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just when I see that actor, I just think of that god awful movie, and I'm like, oh no. That was another 2 hours of my life I wasn't getting back.
Of course, the best ever Dracula ever is, of course, from Sesame Street. I love to count. One.
I was going to add him. I was going to add him to the thumbnail. I've actually got a picture, and I was like, and then my photo editing software was starting to play up because it wouldn't let me select everything and drag it up. It does weird stuff. So I was going to have to do each frame one by one. I'm like, no, I'm not messing with it.
Yeah.
I was going to put like Count Dracula and who was the other one? Add another one as well. I was going to make it up to 10 instead of 8.
I actually went to town today to try and get some of those sweet teeth, the Dracula teeth.
Oh yeah, the pick and mix.
Anywhere, I was damn. I
was tempted, honestly, for tonight, but even to try and maintain character for an hour or so, just hi, I'm the Count. Just exhausted, be super hammy. Have to do something daft like that for Halloween. Have to just costume party and just act like idiots for an hour or so. But I can't get people to. This is like an open door for all you guys that have gotten in touch with the show, creators that supported us and we've supported. It's like, come on, let's have a laugh. But people are all of a sudden shy. It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, me, I'm like, oh, here's an idea for fun. Nobody wants to play. Nobody wants to play with me. I'm like, okay, fine. Be like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the movies, okay? So what I decided to do, because there's no way out of that entire list, really, can you distill down, because there's such a wide ranging genre to pick top 5 movies. So what I decided to do, break it into categories, subcategories. So first one was sort of traditional Dracula story.
Right.
Then comedy. So wherever Dracula has been portrayed in a comedic fashion. Action adventure. So it's not so much horror, but more just like an action flip, just happens to feature monsters. And then finally, alternative and retelling. Funny enough, in that category, I didn't find many retelling, and then once again, the retelling of the story of Dracula.
Right.
Nobody's really messed with his character.
No.
Which I found fascinating considering how long he's been.
Yeah. I'm trying to think where I saw one. Hold on, I'll pull it up now. But yeah, I mean I've put all the normal like Christopher Lee ones down as the old traditional. Hello, you've gone.
So yeah, let's start with the traditional.
Yeah.
I think we'll just do like a round robin and let's see where we'll go. So what's your favorite of sort of the traditional story of Dracula?
I'm going for the two of them. There's the old Dracula Bela Lugosi one.
Yeah.
And then the first Dracula with Christopher Lee in 1958, which I actually watched again today. And you know me, Mr. Mistakes, but it's back then, as we used to say, they didn't care.
Yes.
But
A lot of forgiveness.
one of the things on that is what made me laugh is he's got his coffin right at the beginning of the film, and written on it in big writing is Dracula. And I'm thinking, well, if Van Helsing comes down and wonders, I wonder which coffin Dracula's in, he's got a good chance of getting the right one, isn't he? But also on top of that crypt, right in the very first scene, is a crucifix. So I'm thinking, well, how the hell is he going to get in and out? It's actually imprinted in like the concrete or whatever it is made of. Is a crucifix. It's a proper like crypt type thing. But yeah, he's not going to get in and out of there, is he?
That's one where they added to the lore slightly, because in the beginning they just said the shape of the crucifix was enough, and then I think they started to add it. No, it wasn't. It has to be imbued with faith. So the whole idea of doing this wasn't enough. That's why the vampire you have to believe, and that's that strength. I think that's one. I think quite rightly so. They changed the lore a bit. It made a bit more sense.
Yeah,
because then the defeat. When you have an antagonist that's so easily defeated by just making little symbols. Sure,
yeah.
There's not really much of a challenger. Jim, what was your favorite in the sort of traditional?
My favorite, I agree with Steve, was Bela Lugosi, and of course that's the traditional one, and Christopher Lee's Dracula. I agree with that. Those would be my most favorite traditional ones, but underneath that, there's one we haven't really talked about, which was Dracula.
We'll do the next round, Rob. We'll go sort of next to the list. I just wanted to get the top to see how close we were. Yeah, I went for the 1958 with Christopher Lee, just because essentially it's the telling of Bram Stokers' Dracula, where Bela Lugosi was more of a stage show, but this was the book. And then it's the reason why I picked my next one, which will sort of...
You say that with Bela Lugosi in the stage show. That's what he was doing.
Yeah,
it was his first portrayal of Dracula was actually in a stage
show. Stage, yeah. It was in the stage, yeah.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But I was just... The Dracula 1950, it was more to me trying to tell the book, bring the book to life.
Yeah.
And because it was that first attempt, if that makes sense, that's why it's sort of stuck with me.
Yeah.
But none of us, I think we're pretty much in the same ballpark, if that makes sense. There's not much.
The reason why I pulled out Christopher Lee 1958 was it was the first Dracula film I saw, and it scared me as a kid. I was 10 when I first saw it on Hammer House. The guy scared the living daylights out of me. Horror films today don't scare me, but Christopher Lee stood there with his red eyes and this haunting music. There was really, sort of hide behind the sofa and stuff.
And plus, he was personable as well. I think that added a level of intimidation.
Yeah,
because most monsters are hide in the shadows and jump out. Where Count Dracula is just like, I am Count Dracula, and utterly charming, and he's holding back the monster, but it's there, and anyone that's within spends more than 5 minutes with him understands you're dealing with something very dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that first Christopher Lee one as well, there he is. Harker is there really with a purpose to kill him, and Count Dracula is there leading him around the house because he thinks he knows he's not the librarian, but being nice and hi to him and saying, "Yeah, here's a key to the library, and welcome to my house." Knowing that this Jonathan Harker isn't really there to be his librarian, he's there to kill him. And he's just so cool with it, yeah, okay, yeah, you're gonna kill me, but well, I'll play along with you.
Playing with his food, basically.
Yeah.
I think that's the element as well that just adds so much to the character, that he's not just a mindless monster.
No.
No.
Do you know why a lot of vampire, like the hunger, a lot of vampire stories focus on the hunger and this insatiable thirst?
Mm-hmm.
But you never got that with Dracula, that he was owned by the thirst for blood.
No,
he wasn't grubbing around the streets, biting the head of rats because the hunger's taken over. He was fully in control.
Yeah. And
he indulged rather than, it's when it suited him and it's something to his liking or for sport.
Yeah. But some he bit, didn't he? And others he killed outright.
Yeah. And he chose whether to turn them or not.
Yeah.
So once again, that idea of, and I think that's a terrifying thing to people. If you, especially look at today, so many people are sheep. And they need to be told what to do. They need to be told what to think.
Yes.
They almost need to be told how to feel at times. Like there is a tragedy in the human race. So to feature a character that's self-actualized and basically even despite the fact that a ray of sunlight can kill you, or a holy symbol or holy water or stake through, despite being immortal, it's so easy actually to kill Dracula. But to be that much in control and actually not be afraid of that is terrifying to people.
Yeah. If you think Dracula, the only weapons that Dracula had was the sort of fear that he could portray into you before he actually bit your neck.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed to have quite a bit of strength as well. When the sort of vampire girls were there, not doing as they were told, he, push them around a bit. But his actual strength was the ability to give fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an emotional strength. I write quite often about 176 different emotions. I think there is something like that. But
I don't know. I'm an Ulster man. I just have various degrees of anger.
Yeah,
that's it. We have in the Ulster we have one emotion. It's just anger, and it just comes in various degrees. That's it. That's our range.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, it's that was his main strength, though, wasn't it? The strength of being able to put fear into people's hearts, even his victims, but not only his victims, the people who were watching his films. And it's just,
and that's why people are messing with him. Like, that's what I mean. As a character, people, right, Dracula, right, and people actually pause a minute. How do I do this right?
Yeah.
Even as a comedy, okay, yeah, but I don't want to insult them. That's powerful. That's amazing. I just think it's brilliant.
Yeah. If you take that fear bit as well, like the first Christopher Lee film, the villagers in the village, where he was based, they were all afraid of him.
Yeah, Transylvania. Yeah.
But he didn't do anything to them directly.
No, they lived in peace.
Yeah.
In fact, I would actually argue that they lived in relative safety.
Yeah. Yeah. But
even when
vampires...
Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
even when Van Helsing turned up, they totally sort of said, well, no, we're having nothing to do with this conversation. We don't speak evil of this guy up in the castle who's a vampire. Their fear was different to the fear of anyone who was going up there to like kill him, like Harkers and
Sorry, Jim, go ahead. There's just a wee bit of
the fear is like his minions and like Renfield and like the female, I guess you'd call them wives. It was a fear, that what worse could he do than just bite you on the neck? Their fear was that, hey, I'm already a vampire. You've already, but they just were so afraid of him. You had to think that there was something even more terrible in store for anyone that would cross him.
Duncan Regehr actually did a good job of that.
Yeah.
And Van Helsing, the same with his brides. He actually, I don't think he got enough credit for the way he portrayed Dracula in that movie. I know it was like a cheesy action flick, but he brought that fear as well.
Yeah.
When they were going to refuse to try and procreate again for his master plan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's that there's something, more than what you just see there. And that is a very pervasive fear, I think. People, they can be afraid of somebody that's right in front of them, but something that's off in the shadows, some ethereal thing that you just don't know what, else is out there.
And I think that fear, that personification exists today in the real world. There is that reverence towards Count Dracula. That's what I mean. It's just that is just that idea. Could he be here? Could he actually be watching or appear? Or if I go too, that's amazing. An idea like that can take.
Where the idea of imaginations come in, because it's going back to what I said. Who in the right mind in the late 1800s would come up with this story of someone who goes around killing someone by sucking their blood out and biting their neck, or making a fake human out of other people's body parts, and it's just like the imagination, isn't it? Zombies.
Mm-hmm.
Who come up with the idea? Well, people are going to walk amongst you that are undead, and they're going to be real nasty people that's going to take your heads off or something like that, and eat your intestines.
Yeah, that's another thing, is that the fear that we humans aren't necessarily the top of the food chain.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the mankind. That is our deepest fear, I think, that we are
most
not
ancient. Yeah, that's most ancient fears, that, hey, maybe we're not all that in a bag of rocks, That there's some apex predator out there of us.
I just thought of a good actor who could play Dracula, and that is Liam Neeson, right? Because he would go, "They killed my bride. If you try to stake me through the heart, I will find you. I will kill you.
I will bite you."
Oh no, I'm still good about that. Not Liam Neeson.
God. Do you know he was originally a school teacher?
Was he?
And he got kicked out of teacher training because when he was on they have to do like a year at an actual school while they're still training. Yeah. He sparked out one of the students.
Oh, did he?
He went over to Manchester, and one of the students was giving him a lip. He just went, "Boof!" Sparked him out.
That's the sort of school teachers you need.
You can't be a teacher anymore. he came back and went, "Oh, what do I do? I'll go acting," because he'd done a bit of sort of drama and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's from
Yeah,
Ballina.
Liam Neeson is another excellent actor. He is capable of doing just about anything. You know, he's like Christopher Lee. You know, just an iconic actor that he's getting a little long in the tooth right now, but he could still, you know, pull it off, I think.
But the thing is, we have this resurgence of 60-plus-year-old actors going, "This is all crap. I'm going back to action roles. I'm jumping in." We've just seen it recently with Tom Cruise. Sylvester Stallone's back acting more than ever. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I never call what he did acting anyway, but he's sort of jumped back into it. Keanu Reeves, obviously. But who else? There's Michael Caine's popping up in a movie coming up.
Yeah.
So, once again, because we've got this dearth at the moment, this vacuum of talentless, you know, with no talent. So, all these old school actors are like going, may as well, I know I'm old and creaky, but I may as well give it another go. And they're flipping smashing it at the, you know what I mean? They're putting these movies out and they're absolutely smashing it at the box office.
Clint Eastwood's 92 and he's still directing.
Yes.
He never stopped. He's a machine.
You know. But, yeah.
Oh, there's somebody, I know it's not film related, but horror, but well, technically, because Iron Maiden is a horror themed band. But there's the drummer, Nick O'Brien. He's 71 years of age. And he just released a statement today apologizing for his poor performance this tour, the one I went to see a couple of weeks ago, because he had a stroke in January.
Oh, bloody hell.
And he's apologizing for his poor drum playing.
Stroke.
And I was there at the gig. He's friggin' smashing it out. Like, holy crap.
Yeah.
There's that generation. It's like, I got some. He put this whole statement. Yeah, I got some therapy and, you know, did intensive stuff to get me match fit for the gig. You know, apologize for my poor drum playing. You're like, hell, that's the generation that you just can't touch. You know what I mean? That's that. Put yourself up by the bootstraps. That's right. You face adversity head on and you push through it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough. I grew up with that generation, and you know a lot of that's in me. I would hate to be 10 years younger.
Oh yeah.
Genuinely would hate to be. I'm so lucky with where I am that I had experience, like growing up pre-internet, got the experience of the internet at young enough age to understand what it's capable of, you know, but can live without it. But have that gusto of, things knock you down. Well, guess what? You pick yourself up and you live the best life you can right to the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You fell over as a kid, cut your knee. Your mum would come over, stick a plaster on it, and you'd be out playing again, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah.
Me this week, friggin' sliced up. I mean, proper slices. That was bleeding for like half a day. That's just this week, flipping knocking myself against stuff.
Did you see my post on Facebook about my seizure I had?
Yeah, sure.
There.
Yeah, you whacked it. Yeah,
I had a seizure while I was on the treadmill and went bang right into everything. It was blood everywhere, and hurt all down the side of the head there.
God, back in.
But I picked myself up. Walked downstairs because there was no one upstairs in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Walked downstairs, saw the the lady who was coming in for the class, and she like mopped me up a bit, and then my other half turns up and takes me home. That was me, and then I went home and cooked tea. I went home, well, we got to eat tonight. I know. I've just had a seizure. I'll cook me tea. But
that's what you do. Dracula kind of, that he exemplifies that sort of era as well.
Yeah.
You're facing Dracula, you're facing insurmountable odds. So, like, always like the Van Helsing character, I don't think Dracula would be the same without Van Helsing. The more mere human. that's prepared, knows he faces certain death,
Yeah.
and goes up against them. But yeah, today is what's inspiring out there?
Not a lot.
Sorry,
Not-
what? Can't hear anything. The crickets just go.
Yeah. No. I think in Hollywood as well, they're they're coming up with all these stories that's been done time and time again, and I think that is a lot to do with the people of today, like the youngsters that we're producing, the ones that fall out of a tree and have 4 months off work with PTSD or whatever it's called. And we're putting these people into jobs like writing stories, and they can't think of anything because they've never been through the horrors
Of anything?
falling out of a tree, going, "Oh, that hurt," and walking away from it. It's
God, I remember as a kid we used to climb barbed wire fences and flip and get caught on them and rip ourselves
Yeah.
to shreds. And you just be like, well, that hurts a bit, and flipping away you went.
used to go home, and your mum used to say, "What have you done? You got blood on you."
On the handkerchief.
Yeah, that's right. yeah, that'll be all right now. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
They don't produce kids like that these days, and this is why I think they can't think for themselves, so that we're not getting proper scripts in the likes of Hollywood. It's because they're thinking, "Oh, well, I've never done anything like that before." I can't think of anything there. I know. We'll remake Dracula. That's a good turn, because
And then they're like, "Oh, actually, he might be annoyed with us. We'll not do that. Let's do Batman again.
yeah.
He's not as scary."
Yeah. Oh, we haven't done a Spider-Man film for. Oh, we've turned him into a cartoon character, haven't we? Yeah.
The other thing is, I'm sorry. The other thing is,
I was going to ask you to go through your list.
Is that Hollywood is all about making money, and they are it's like that whole human emotion of it's easier and more comforting to dance with the devil that you know than the angel you don't. They know that Dracula will make money. You put that name on a poster, that movie's going to make money. And they are just so hesitant about stepping outside and maybe doing something different. So that's another reason, in my opinion.
Yeah. Right. What I was going to say, actually, start with you, Eugene. Do you want to take us through your list then of traditional, and then we'll go on to the other ones? I know we'll kind of go off on a little tangent, but yeah, traditional. What was then? Obviously, Bela Lugosi, but what was the rest of your top 5 of sort of traditional Dracula movies?
Oh well, there was. Here, let me pull up my list here. There was. Another one that was very well done that's not talked about very much was Dracula, that was put out in 1979 with Frank Langella. That was a good Dracula movie. And I'm trying to roll through my. There was one that was made that never really got. I can't remember what the star's name was. Jack Palance. There was a Dracula made with Jack Palance in it, and I think it was like in the 80s, if I'm not, or late 70s or 80s. I can't remember. Dan Curtis's Dracula. Dan Curtis, the one that produced Dark Shadows during the 60s.
Oh, I heard about it, yeah.
Oh, right. That was a made-for-TV version.
Yeah. That was the made-for-TV version. And that was a good portrayal. And I really can't think of any of a fifth one. Those are just my top ones that I can think of right off the top of my head.
Steve?
I liked the original Dracula 1931 with Bela Lugosi, then the original Dracula with Christopher Lee 1958. The other Christopher Lee one I enjoyed was Taste the Blood of Dracula, which was 1970.
Really?
Yeah. Had quite a big cast in it of, do you remember Roy Kinnear?
Yeah, I reviewed it not so long ago, was it?
Peter Sallis, who did Wallace and Gromit voice.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in not Only Fools. What's that? Summer Wine, Last of the Summer Wine.
Oh, I don't believe that. Oh no, that's.
I liked Gary Oldman's Dracula, and I suppose Frank Langella was. Yeah, I do agree to a certain degree on that one. That was quite an original.
That's my phone.
Yeah, so that would be my fault.
Hello, you're on YouTube. Hello to ones of people watching us. I went for, like I said, the 1958. That was my top one. Bram Stokers Dracula actually put because it was a faithful retelling. Once again, it was when you watch those two movies side by side. There's no real deviation. The only thing 1992 did was make use of modern effects.
Yeah.
But they didn't
Really?
get away from the story. Or try to, over there. And Gary Oldman, that man's a chameleon.
Oh, he just
morphs into a role.
Whatever he does, he hits. And Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary Oldman. I really should have mentioned that one too. I didn't even think of that one, but yes, Bram Stokers Dracula. That was a good one.
My next one then, Dracula Prince of Darkness. Here's the thing though, a mistake I made for years is I thought it was Renfield that invited everybody into the castle and kidnapped the what do you call him? Was it the lawyer?
Yeah.
And hung him up over the coffin. But it wasn't. It was actually a character called Clove. I always, for years, thought that was Renfield.
Yeah. And it wasn't.
It wasn't. It was another character called Clove, which was strange. Remember, he brought Dracula back to life by, basically hanging the guy up like a flipping slaughtered pig, slitting his throat and having the blood drip into the coffin.
Yeah.
Which, to me, as a kid, watching that was a horrifying scene. And the way the guy was so casual about it.
Yeah. I can't remember it.
That was the first of me seeing a sidekick with true devotion to their master.
Yeah.
I think that was my first example of life of an actual acolyte, a devotee, as opposed to a frightened, whimpering servant. This is somebody who's like, I want the master back, and showed that he's just as capable, if not, for being a familiar human, as Dracula himself. He's quite prepared to do what's necessary.
Yeah.
And then I went, obviously, Nosferatu. That has to be on the top 5 list.
Yeah.
Like, that movie still stands up.
Oh,
even though the only reason he was called Count Orlok was for copyright purposes.
Yeah. So it's one of I when you said Dracula, I thought
yeah, but he is Dracula. He'd only called him Orlok because he didn't want to get sued.
Yeah,
the studio didn't want to get sued because
I also put him into categories of a creepy Dracula. You had Nosferatu and Bela Lugosi, quite creepy with the part. Scary, I had Christopher Lee and Gary Oldman as the scary ones. And I'm thinking, what a difference in acting capabilities, because they all scared you, but one creepily scared you and one shook you, and scared you, and hide behind the sofa type of thing. But Nosferatu 2, I can see, and it was black and white as well.
It was black and white, but it's still that still holds up. Also, that's I think we'll discuss this possibly offline, but Nosferatu 2 has been remade with Skarsgård. What's it?
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah,
Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. I keep mixing him up with his brother.
Yeah.
Because they both act in similar sort of movies, and it's easy to look very similar.
Yeah.
And then finally for the top, that was Brides of Dracula.
That didn't contain Dracula, did it?
It did
briefly,
but it
was it?
Yeah, and then but it was more about the brides, but he was actually in it. Just it was a bit like Taste the Blood of Dracula. That's the name, because Christopher Lee couldn't be arsed anymore. And they'd actually written that story with him not in mind to be in it.
Yeah.
And then the studio went, we can't have a Dracula story without Christopher Lee's Dracula. That's not possible.
Yeah.
So they offered him a few wheelbarrows worth of money, just wheeled it up to his house, just cash up to here. Please. This is just to say, please, we'll give you more. And a truck appeared and just dumped it, on this driveway. Just cash. Just do it. And he kind of was half-assed, just could be bothered during that movie. But it was so jarring because you knew he just wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And it's like a bit part in the own movie. It was... I suppose I'll have to do comedy next. Because even while mocking Dracula or the idea of Dracula, there's still that respect's been shown throughout the years. It's a funny thing. It's a strange thing, how people can mock a character, but there's still that reverency. Even Halloween costumes, you think about it. If people are going to dress up as Dracula, they're going to put a bit more effort in than anything else.
Yeah.
People want to dress up as Frankenstein's monster. They'll put the mask on, that'll be it.
Yeah.
Who dresses up as Dracula and not think about, better get a suit, better get a cape.
Yeah.
Better put a bit of makeup on, even if I'm wearing
blood down the side of the...
Yeah. People will actually put that, and they don't even realize. People I don't think realize they're doing it. They're showing reverence to a character, even with dress up.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Even the costumes that you buy. The costumes there's more in a Dracula costume than there is something else.
Yeah. You think about any other monster, even like the creature from the Black Lagoon or anything, those they can be like that weird plasticky paper stuff.
Yeah.
Or those tabards, those costumes that people just wear like a tabard mask.
Yeah.
No, not for Dracula.
No.
If you don't have the cape and the fake teeth as well, or a cane, or something of gentry, to show that they're gentry.
They even do the white face paint, don't they?
Yes, that's what I mean. No other monster.
And the red and
people subconsciously put more of an effort in.
Mm.
That's why I'm saying how powerful this character is.
Yeah, I can see that. It's stuff you don't notice, really.
I do because I'm sad. You look through your mistake. I watch people and go,
guys, I hate to tell you this, but I gotta go.
Oh man, no.
I'm sorry.
Well, Jane, thanks very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it. We don't get enough time together. I know with schedules and stuff and time differences, it's impossible. But honestly, really appreciate you coming on.
No problem, man. I enjoyed it.
Getting part. Obviously, we'll continue and wrap up. But once again, thanks, and hopefully we'll have you on again soon.
I hope so too.
Cheers, Gene. Nice to meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you, Steve. Y'all take care, guys.
All right, bye.
All the best.
Bye.
I just go. There we go.
And
then there were two.
Yeah.
Dracula's side going, "Ugh." He looked into Bela Lugosi's eyes.
Dracula's waiting outside his house now to come out.
Will you show me the appropriate respect, underling? Oh well. But yeah, even in comedy, you know, there's still that difference, I think.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned to you. One of my favorite comedy films is Dracula Dead in Love, in it. The scene where Dracula's trying to get one of them to stand up and the other one sits down, and then another one stands up, and not you stand up. No, not you. It's just comedy gold, really. And you can see because Leslie Nielsen is just brilliant in comedy roles, isn't he? But without actually being the sort of comedy actor, he's the sort of straight guy.
He plays it straight, and
yeah, but it's funny.
Yeah.
It's,
I like a Basil Fawlty type character. Like if you think Basil Fawlty plays it straight,
yeah.
But it's hilarious. I have to slightly deviate, but it's on the same line. So my favorite has to be Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Oh yeah.
However, I'm afraid to watch it again.
Yeah.
I don't want to lose the match. You know what I mean? I watched that like blew my mind as a kid.
Yeah.
Because it was sort of the first crossover, because you had Frankenstein, you had the Wolfman, you had Bela Lugosi playing Dracula, and they're all playing it straight, and it's Abbott and Costello going, run, you know what I mean?
Yeah. As only Abbott and Costello could.
Of course.
The little one, wasn't it? Which one was the little one?
Bud Abbott was the sort of portly one, and Louis Costello was the thinner one.
Yeah, right. So it's Bud Abbott, yeah. Well, one of them was English, wasn't they?
I can't remember.
I'm sure. Was it? Yeah, I'm sure one of them.
I couldn't confirm or deny that. Don't know.
So I'm sure one of them I read somewhere.
Because it did like a Boston accent, you know, it's quite possible. But yeah, 1948. Like I still watch that into the 80s and 90s. I'm just kind of hesitant now.
Yeah.
To go back, and I don't want to lose that magic, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Just looking at this.
But today they do crossovers like nothing. But back then, having crossing the genres and different monsters together in a movie was a big thing. And that wasn't done very, very often. You know, it was a rare thing. So I'm just giving you a chance to look up what you're looking up.
Yeah, I'm just looking at I'm sure I read.
But yeah, even as a kid, like I watched Abbott and Costello on their own. Same as the old black and white Laurel and Hardy movies. Like I remember the transition from silent movie with speech.
Yeah. I used to like Harold Lloyd. Did you ever watch any Harold Lloyd? I can even remember the theme tune. Hooray for Harold Lloyd.
No, that one's completely lost me.
That was an old 30s guy, but the guy was one of the first actors ever to do his own stunts. And some of the if you imagine they had no safety back in the 30s.
Oh, no, it was lethal.
Some of the stunts he did were pretty amazing. And he's there was a clock on top of a building.
Oh God, yes, no, yes,
hanging off,
and he's hanging off. Yeah, he's hanging off the hand. Oh God, I remember him now.
Yeah,
because that's like one of the most iconic scenes in cinema.
Yeah, and he was doing 99% of his own stunts because
God, you wouldn't say. The only one doing that now is Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah,
he's the only one actually doing it.
Yeah,
I've actually developed a weird. Like I used to get sick of him because of his ego, like back in the day.
Yeah,
but now I'm like, maybe you do need a bit of that, you know.
Yeah,
and he showed his more artistic side now of wanting to just produce the goods, where maybe we didn't see it back in the day because everything's, you know. I've actually, I was started off as a bit grudging respect. Now it's like, yeah, mate, you're the goat. You crack on. You can keep doing it. You have a blast, man. Don't begrudge you anything, any success in your life.
I watched a program the other day about how Sylvester Stallone hates the fact that he's getting old.
But he was an egomaniac anyway.
Yeah,
Like
he's
Sylvester Stallone, for how bright he is, his ego is the thing that's tripped him up over the years. And actually, he could have been taken, he could have been like a serious director.
yeah.
But his ego and his sort of narcissism has destroyed, it just means I can't take him seriously.
Yeah, I'm not a great fan of Stallone at all.
Like Schwarzenegger, like, you can't say one without the other, but Schwarzenegger was just a joke,
He was a strong man. That was about it.
Yeah, that was it. So I never really took him seriously anyway. And once he got on a bit, like, forgot about him. And he's more of a tragedy trying to get back into acting, where Stallone, the self-inserts get me with him. He has to self-insert. He can't make a movie without self-inserting. Look at Clint Eastwood, who we brought up earlier.
Yeah.
He's quite happy to be in the back seat directing. He's still making art. In fact, a lot of movies you'll barely hear his name.
Yeah.
So he's dedicated to the art. So I respect him more. But Sylvester Stallone cannot put his ego aside and leave the self-insertion out of it. And he always has to be the main character as well.
He's a bit like the acting version of M. Night Shyamalan, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, Shiny Bum.
Who likes the fact that he made the highest grossing movie of 1999, or wasn't it, with Sixth Sense? Yeah, I made it. Yeah, it was the highest grossing movie in 1999. This Sixth Sense. Yeah, I was good with it. I directed it, and me. Like in interviews, and you daren't say to him, "Yeah, but everything you've made since is crap."
Oh, he's somebody. Can't remember. Yeah, it was a comment I made on something else, that it was a band interview. Iron Maiden again, because it was going. I'm a wee bit obsessed, but they just brought this generic studio person in because the actual interviewer was stuck in traffic and couldn't make it.
Yeah,
and he's interviewing the band, and he's no care about what they do. Doesn't have a clue about them. He's generic as hell, and it comes across. And actually, the lead singer, Bruce Dickinson, got tore into him during the interview for just getting things wrong. I couldn't interview a Hollywood actor or a pop star or a sports person because I've no interest in them.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I have absolutely zero interest in them. So what could I sit here and relate to that person? Because there's nothing about them that would make me want to waste my time for a start. So it wouldn't be a good interview.
No.
So I understand that about myself. But these people just don't seem to have that even modicum of self-awareness.
You would think a director of a film as well would have such a knowledge of his subject that he could actually see this film is going to dive, it's going to bomb because it's crap. And surely they're not thinking as the people who go to watch the films are thinking. And they should be. They should be saying, this film ain't going to do very good here.
Or if they don't have that group of people, that grounding group of people, not sycophants.
Yeah.
But that group of people in private, not publicly shame them, but that group of people, it's like, steady on, mate. This isn't going to be good. Or that group, like authors have arc readers. Just that group that'll give you honest feedback and steer you in the right direction. But these people just don't, and they have the resources to do it. I think that's what annoys me. And today, we have more access to fans than ever before. Actual genuine, paying customers. They're more removed than in the 1930s when we were talking about Bela Lugosi, for example.
Yeah.
They're actually more detached from reality and from the actual people, yet despite having a direct line of contact with your customer base. Like, that's pure gold. You can actually get valid feedback from people who are prepared to pay you money or not.
Yeah.
Or see your projects go, and they just completely like Disdain. They have nothing but Disdain film. It's weird.
Yeah, they're just knocking out something, like they'll make a good number one film, and they'll think, oh well, that one's done well at the box office. Let's make number two, but we won't bother whether it's good or it's bad. We'll just knock it out.
Yeah, because the stupid peasants will turn up because
they'll just go. But or they wait years and years and years to make a number two. Like, I mean, Terminator 1 and Terminator 2, they were like, what, 7 years apart, was it?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, it was close to 10 years.
And so when Terminator 1 was made, they never had the thought of doing number two. They were just going to do a sci-fi film of
a standalone movie.
And then 7 years down the line, they thought, yeah, it's got quite a cult following now, and it's doing well in the DVD, in the VHS rentings,
back in the day.
Yeah, because that was one of the girl up at the video shop where I used to get my videos was called Becky. I remember Becky, and she used to recommend things to me. She used to watch them first in the video shop, and she knew what sort of stuff I liked. And she actually said to me, "Oh, you'll like this one, The Terminator." Now, from what I can recall, I never ever saw it advertised in the cinema. I don't think it done that well in the cinema. I don't know in this country. I can't recall it, but
no.
I think it got its cult following in those 7 years between number one or 6 years to the people to number two, and everyone thought, "Hey, this is quite a good film." Now, don't see much of it, but he puts his fist through the guy's thing and pulls out his heart, and it's. And this is where I think studios are now thinking, let's just plonk out a number two and a number three. Psycho is a perfect example. Number one was done in 1960, and they waited till 1982 to do number two, which was okay. And then after that, they thought, let's put out number three. Number two's done all right. Number three was, and number four was.
I don't even remember number four.
It's one with the radio, I think. Or the girl, or there was a little girl or something. I can't remember.
I had zero interest after that. I think it was the third. Was that stir scene or something that just put me off, and I just like nah. But anyway, back to Dracula.
Yeah.
So just obviously we're, I don't know what's your list then for comedy? What
it's got to be Dracula Dead and Loving It or Renfield. Those two are the ones that stand out for me. Dracula Dead and Loving It and Renfield. Out of the two, I'd go for Dead and Loving It, just simply because I think Leslie Nielsen is just such a straight comedy actor. He's sort of Tommy Cooper of acting, where you only got to look at him and you can start laughing.
He just invokes that in you, yeah. Same as Christopher Lee invoked fear and dread.
Sit down. No, not you. Stand up. No, not you. And it just cracks up. And
you have to be like in the zone to like play it straight. That's all.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, mine's Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. That's just from childhood, just that stuck with me. Renfield is shut up at number two. Like that movie. I don't know why, because it shouldn't be as good as it was.
It's like we said,
it's just another cheesy remake or another Nicolas Cage paying off his tax bill movie. But bloody hell.
Yeah. I text you, I think I did, and went a bit worried about Nick Cage being Dracula, something like that. Put. And
and that's a long time. Actually, I had genuine belly laughs, in a movie, just watch it go, haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah.
I put Dracula Dead and Loving It next. Because, like I said, Leslie Nielsen, brilliant. Just pure comedy. But then I couldn't find a fifth one. But for number 4, and it took me a minute to remember this one, but Love at First Bite.
Oh yeah.
George Hamilton plays Dracula.
Yeah.
he's trying to woo this girl. Dracula says he wants true love, and there's just one line of she goes, "Oh right, I have to be gone. Let's have a quickie." And he's like, "No, with you, never a quickie, always a longie." You know, and then he pulls up the cloak and vanishes out the window. Yeah, that's just an endearing, fun movie. I forgot all about it until I started going through this list.
Yeah. And it's one of those films that you wouldn't think of watching.
No, it's one that probably popped on TV sometime. In fact, I almost guarantee it was one that just happened to pop on the TV.
Yeah. And you think, oh, there's nothing else on, I'll watch this one. Because you wouldn't think of, George Hamilton's in... Is it Hamilton or Harrison?
George Hamilton.
Hamilton, yeah. Is in this film. I know I'll watch this Dracula film. That's how I would feel. But dead in loving it, I've come across it several times and thought, oh, I'll watch that, because it appeals to me.
Mm-hmm. And that's always a sign of a good movie, though, when you're prepared to stick it back in again.
Yeah.
And play.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
The next category then was sort of action adventure. So I sort of class that as, it's not your typical horror, but it's more like a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, I'll put Van Helsing in that category.
Yeah, same here. In fact, I put that as my favorite.
Yeah.
The reason being because I had enough love for the Universal monsters and Duncan Reger's portrayal of Dracula in that. He didn't get much, he didn't get much screen time.
No.
But when he was there, he was actually quite powerful.
Yeah.
And yes, all the goofy sort of comedy stuff, action stuff with what's his face? Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Who was it with him? Played the love interest. Oh god, I can't remember her name. She's quite famous as well, but I've been stuff.
What year was it?
2004. I forget.
That long ago, was it?
Yeah, it was, believe it or not. And actually still, I've watched that not so long ago, and it still holds up. Like the way they did that.
Kate Beckinsale. Kate Beckinsale.
Kate Beckinsale, yes.
Yeah.
Who played Celine, funny enough, another vampire.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, but there were no female leads in movies until what's her face? Jennifer Lawrence did it. Did we forget about that?
Yeah, enough said about that one.
Yeah. Oh, she's brilliant. But yeah, Duncan's portrayal of Dracula was actually proper menacing. And like I said, that scene with his wives when they destroyed the first batch of their children.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. I've got a chat here. Did you seriously bugger off and go watch a previous stream while we're live streaming now?
Who's this?
I watched the previous stream because of the freaking agent. As we disappeared for the last hour, yeah, we're kind of mixing them in. So what we've done, freaking Calvin, he's mad. I love our guy a bit. He's off his box. What we've done is we've just taken the whole genre of Dracula appearances, we've broke it down the categories. It's such a massive thing, and believe it or not, the Hammer horror ones are a part of it, but not the whole story.
No.
But yeah, like the traditional Dracula, the Hammer horror, we covered that there. Christopher Lee, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to agree. We can't argue them, but sure. Why don't you go back and watch this one while we're doing another live stream? Is that the way you watch stuff? Okay, but see, he's artists, man. Creative minds. They can't just have to do anything different, don't they?
Of course, one we're forgetting as well that had a big name behind it, Wes Craven, is Dracula 2000, and I think Wasn't he just the producer of it? But they did.
Yeah, that's the one with Jared Butler.
They did two more, didn't they? They did
3000 AD and something else.
Ascension, Dracula 2 Ascension, and Dracula 3 Legacy. Legacy was 2005, Ascension 2003.
There was a scene, wasn't it the scene outside the church with the neon cross? That's what ruined that movie for me.
Yeah.
They get killed with a fucking neon cross.
Yeah.
I just can't watch that movie again after. And I'm just like, that's how you're going to do it, really.
But they had some good cast members in it that should have made it good.
I know, but
neon
cross, a cheesy motel where a cheesy motel where the lights are blinking, going bzz, bzz, bzz.
Yeah,
that's how they dispatched
the red light
bulbs. I'm not having it. Yeah, one of the light bulbs was even popping.
Yeah.
No, sorry, no.
Because you had Jared Butler, didn't you? Christopher Plummer. Big names, isn't it? One's an action hero, the other one's,
Oh, there's another fan of Taste the Blood of Dracula. Good, you're like half an hour behind me.
Yeah.
That's like ancient history.
We discussed that last week.
Keep up. We're under.
He's just found out that Woolworths is closed.
Oh dear.
Take that, split up in 1994 and just come back together.
Yeah. God, they're still beating a dead horse. Yeah, it's that scene. Believe it or not, it's amazing how one scene in the movie can just take you right out of the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
I forget the rest of the movie apart from that one scene with the neon cross, and I'm like,
yeah.
I was going to watch it again before this, just because you know what? That's actually quite a divisive one.
Yeah.
Like people hate it or love it. Like Dracula Untold, that's another one where people either love or hate.
Yeah.
Weird how people's reactions are, but yeah, to me that one scene.
That was
obviously the other one I think I mentioned earlier was Blade Trinity.
Yeah.
I
didn't actually see the Blade ones. It's Wesley
the
Snipes.
Second one is first one's amazing.
Yeah.
The second one had what you call him out of Bros, Luke Goss, playing the antagonist.
Yeah.
And then the third one, Dominic Purcell played Dracula.
Yeah.
He's a weird one. He's an actor, should be doing better than he is, but he's kind of. I think his mistake was getting too involved with TV. He got involved with TV a bit too much, and I think it kind of ruined him.
Yeah. I'm trying to find this. Oh, that's the one I was on that. Yeah. Because I'll tell you who else had a dip into the Dracula production was Dario Argento. The it's quite well known.
The Yellow Grizzly Master.
Yeah, he did a couple of Dracula films.
There's another one of his coming out this year. He's another movie coming out. Like that guy's in flipping hitting 90 at least.
Yeah.
And he's directed another movie that's coming out this year. I can't remember what it's called.
No idea.
Yeah, he's like Clint Eastwood. I love him. He's like, I love making movies.
I don't know. Yeah, what shall I do this week?
Yeah.
Get out on the Zimmer frame and make a movie.
Do you know what? Like I said, hats off. Your people like that have more vitality.
Yeah. It's just you can't sit them down.
No.
My uncle retired, went to Exmouth to live, and he's in his 80s, and he helps out at the soup kitchen. Now, there's a guy, he's got so much bloody money, he don't need to do anything. And there he was financial director of a timber company, and he goes down the soup kitchen. He teaches all the people who use the soup kitchen how to do all their finances and everything, and teaches them like basic maths and stuff like that. And you think this guy's still going, and he's in his 80s, and it's a good prime example for for
But
any.
that's it's that spark, that need, that vitality of life, which
It's the same with these directors, Clint Eastwood, Dario Argento. They're not going to stop. They're going to die directing.
yeah. And you know what? Why not? Who else was it? Oh shit, I had somebody else. Yeah, sorry. True story. Back when I was in the army, I remember talking to one of the civvy caterers, in the kitchens they always had civilians, because when everyone else is deployed, they need people in the kitchens that run it during stand down, if that makes sense. This guy called Davey, he was in his 70s. This was back in 2005 or 6. And like this big fella, 70s, like, mate, why are you still doing this? You're flipping knocking your pan in.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, my mates retired, they're dead. People I used to work with, they retired, they're dead.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep working.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you know what? There's something in that.
Yeah.
As much as we bitch and moan about going to work or having to put effort into something, there's a reward to actually having, taking hold of life and doing something with it. That's why I'm forever banging on about get out there and make something. It doesn't have to sell, but get those gears turning.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be your business. Just have a go. That's why I'm always banging on about it in this channel. That's why I'm always, every time I have people on, it's like, let's talk about the creative spark. Let's talk about, that sense of achievement, or even the times you failed, but you've still tried.
Yeah.
And got up again. That is living.
Yeah. It's like, out of the 8 books, I mean, they're all personal to me. To be quite honest, the people who read them, their opinions mean quite a lot. But personally, they're my books, and I write, what I want to write. Someone asked me, "Do you write any love stories?" And I wrote back to them saying, "You could just imagine a love story by me. She ran her fingers through his hair and touched his cheek before she slit his throat." That sort of thing. But especially the first book that I wrote, A Dish Best Served Cold, was very personal to me. The first book, I couldn't care less what anybody else thought, because it was personal to me. The second one, then, all these different ways of killing people were going through my head. The latest book, Stalker, I became the stalker when I was writing it. And I was thinking, what would I do if I was stalking this bloody person who'd upset me, and just the things that went through my mind. I tell you, it's quite. But some of my books have done really well, and they're still selling. There's one that I don't think anyone likes, but I liked it. And that was Paranoid, the last one. And
well, it's like my first book. People, it's like Marmite. People are like, "Oh, what is this pile of shit?" Or other people get it, what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
But to me, it's more about, I had an idea. I didn't pipe dream. I actually went and I physically put myself out there. I put it together, and it's available if anyone else wants to share it. If that makes sense. Interview the ringmaster. But it was just that whole idea of, I'm not going to sit here and wish forever. I'm going to do something. Plus, I can't sit and talk to creators, to authors, if I'm going to just sit here and talk.
Yeah.
If I'm not prepared to put myself out there, then I'm a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I can't tell people, encourage creatives if I'm not prepared to do it myself.
Yeah.
To fail or succeed. I'm struggling with my 4th and 5th. I'm sort of working on 2 projects simultaneously at the moment. But I'm having real trouble with concentration at the moment.
Yeah.
It's really killing me. I used to be able to just sit and play on. Now I'm like really, I don't know what's going on with me at the moment, but
yeah,
hopefully I get on top of that. Actually have next week off work to try and get a lot of things tied down, because it's really starting to annoy me now.
Paranoid didn't do as well as the others, sales-wise, or it hasn't done so far. but that didn't make me despondent. I thought, well, I've written it. It's a story about a woman who's been paranoid, who's killed her three husbands in one, and she's paranoid about her fourth kill, who was her fiance, is come back to life and is trying to get her dead. And whether the story just didn't click on with people, I don't know, but it didn't stop me. I've gone right on to the next one, Stalker. But the thing it did make me think is, how am I going to start Stalker? And I had three, whereas people normally have three endings and they pick the best one, I had three starts. Thinking, which one do I use? Do I go this way, or this way? And so I chose one. Hopefully it'll be the right one. But
cool. We're going to be featuring that soon. In fact, that's another reason I've taken a week off work to actually get knuckled down and start recording. Because bloody well, work has just been kicking my arse lately and trying to get that. But but characters like Dracula, because they embrace death, they are the personification of death and the end of life, and almost solitude and loneliness. It kind of makes you appreciate life more, and want to sort of
I think in a way you can feel sorry for Dracula. Who was the character I felt sorry for? Trying to think there. There's one character I felt really sorry for, and people were saying, "What are you feeling sorry for them for?" Dracula, you can feel sorry for him because of his loneliness, and if you just let him get on with it, like the villagers did, they just thought, "Oh, he'll leave us alone if we just leave him alone,"
live and let live sort of thing. That's the
but he does. He's a lonely character, isn't he? He's
because some of the guys they touched on this with Frankenstein as well, with the Bride of Frankenstein. Everyone wants that soulmate.
Yeah.
Everyone, like, as much as we deny, that we do, or pretend that we're too cool for school, there's that deep yearning of, I want somebody that gets me. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I want somebody to understand life how I understand it.
Yeah.
And that's because we're all, those of us that have a personality, because there's a lot of empty shells out there, let's be honest. Most of them are in Hollywood at the moment. But those that actually have thinking brains and intact souls, to put it, put a word on it, are unique individuals.
Yeah.
Like, no two of us are the same. We can tread paths along a certain way, but each of us have a divergence and own thoughts and takes of things. Like, even talking about, that's why I love these sort of panels and talk about, because we all get something different from we all watch the same movie and we all get something different.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it interesting. Not this lock, stock, and everyone must think the same thing. Dun dun dun. What sort of world's that to live in?
Yeah, everyone's got different opinions, haven't they? And
different experiences, different things to bring to the table. That's what makes life joyous. Let's be honest. That's what meeting new people and interacting. That's what makes it an adventure. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's face it, the government is trying their hardest to control your thoughts anyway. And why not have these thoughts amongst on things like this?
Which is we're going to talk about a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah,
as the censorship, the thought police, and because horror is, I think, the purest genre of thought. It's not constrained like others.
I think the censorship of it, whereas a film can go in, a love film, say, can go in and they'll think, right, should we do this as a U or a PG, or should we put PG-12 or whatever? And it's rated from that end. Whereas horror seems to come in at the XXXXX,
and then dial it down so it's palatable.
We'll bring it down. But it's not that bad in that one. Let's take one of the X's off. And it seems to come in from that end. And And as we know, not a lot of horror films get into the Oscars. Very, very rarely, isn't it? And is it
The
because
Shape of Water, I think, was the only one that we
the
could think of.
censorship thing?
Mhm.
It's just,
But they did an action movie and no problem.
yeah.
But oh yes, another one which was a hidden gem which I almost forgot about. Monster Squad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a cool one, portrayal of Dracula. An sort of adventure movie. It wasn't quite comedy. It was more of sort of like the Goonies type.
Yeah. 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 And of course, then you had Hotel Transylvania, wasn't it? The cartoon.
Actually, enough, that was an anime. Did I watch that?
Yeah, it was cartoon ones, but I had Dracula.
Yeah, I just can't remember if I watched it. I might have.
1, 2, and 3, wasn't there?
There was a couple of those. I might have watched the first one, but I can't remember. Genuinely can't remember. But some we've alluded to that they haven't really messed with Dracula much, but there have been sort of alternate, sort of our last section, alternate and retellings of the Dracula myth. But still, it's surprising when you look through those type of movies how they don't deviate too much from Dracula himself.
Yeah.
What was your favorite one in that sort of category?
Yeah. I think Van Helsing comes into that category as well. There's
I don't know, because I disagree with you on that one, because the way they portrayed Dracula and even the Wolfman, they were very traditional.
Yeah.
They were traditional in their characters, but they put them in a action setting as opposed to a horror setting.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't put anything in alternative retelling because I didn't think of any.
Well, you brought up Dracula Untold.
Dracula Untold.
I'd put that one in there.
Yeah. I suppose Dracula Reborn would be in there as well. That was just awful. Dracula Reborn. It was 2012, I think it was. There was a guy called Stuart Rigby, who no one's heard of, portrayed Dracula in the most terrible way that you could ever imagine. Well, put it this way, you would have got more action out of watching the Wooden Tops on Watch with Mother back in.
I remember that one. Another interesting one I put in that category was Dracula AD.
AD 72.
Yeah, well, it was made in 1972.
Yeah.
It's Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, but they told Dracula in a modern, like 70s, as opposed to Victorian times.
Yeah.
So it was essentially the same struggle, but they did it in modern era and of that time.
Yeah, I can see that. Because really, he was like he was just in around the sort of year that they wrote it, wasn't it? It's everything was in an old castle in an old village that still had horses and carts, and then suddenly, brought up to 72. It's a bit like putting Jason Voorhees in space, isn't it? But
I tried to find a Dracula in space.
Yeah.
I think there was one mentioned, but it didn't. I haven't seen it, so I didn't have time to watch it.
Yeah.
I think they had a Dracula in space, but I didn't. Obviously, I'm not going to put something here that I haven't actually watched because
Dracula in Vegas.
Yeah, that's.
I just couldn't. I thought, how are they going to put him in Vegas?
Well, that's easy because I've seen Leprechaun 3, so they can do anything.
Yeah.
I was just picturing Leprechaun 3, but with Dracula instead of Warwick Davis. My favorite one that was actually I put in this was Batman v Dracula.
Oh yeah,
cartoon. However, the reason being this is in 2005, but it was a weak Batman in this. But I read the original Dark Horse comics.
Yeah,
there's a 3-part series. Blood Rain. It was Batman, and he took on Dracula himself. And the first one, then he became a vampire, and then the Joker became a vampire.
Is this the ones that Marvel didn't agree to?
No, sir. Batman's DC.
Yeah, DC.
It was Dark Horse had this. They're gone now. Unfortunately, they're a brilliant publishing house.
Yeah.
So Dark Horse Comics, they did like Batman versus Predator and those type. No, they did tie-ins.
Yeah.
Terminator versus RoboCop. They did all these wonderful.
There were a couple of films,
and they did the Elseworlds series where they took, which is funny that Hollywood's trying to do like alternate universes, and Dark Horse did these ad nauseum.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, I don't have them anymore, sadly. But yeah, it was 3 books, and they're really well drawn books.
Yeah, there was a couple of. I'm sure I read somewhere. There's a couple of Dracula Batman films, and I think they were foreign ones. And was it DC who had the Batman thing? They didn't actually agree to them. I'm sure I read up on it somewhere. I'll look it up and tell you.
Yeah, but that's it just remember the cartoon was okay. It was milquetoast as hell, but it was for kids. Let's be honest. But the reason I put that was because that comic book series was one I've read multiple times, just over and over again, and I got the hardback versions that were beautifully drawn, and even Batman as a vampire hunter when he realizes they exist, and Alfred being Alfred, knocking out the throwing stakes, oh right, yes sir, I've got these ready now, he just expertly throws it himself.
Yeah.
Pretending he's just the help, but he's actually more skilled than he lets on.
Yeah.
There's Goldman on. I'm getting people are just coming in shifts tonight. Yeah, Christopher Lee. Yeah, we're going to go through our top 5 actors very, very shortly. Actually,
we did, didn't we?
No, we haven't got there yet. We're just finishing off like the alternative sort of takes.
Yeah,
we've been about 100 tangents doing the stream. Surprise, surprise. Because that never happens.
Yeah, I'm sure I read somewhere about these Dracula versus Batman things.
It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, because there's a lot of people taking liberties, don't get the right. Which I hope 7th Street, when you're doing necromantic, you get the right, get the right contracts sorted out and tick the right boxes to be able to do that.
Yeah,
because that's right up his alley to redo that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sort of series was brilliant, and if you can get hold of it, the print version, Batman v Dracula, please do. It's definitely worth it.
I think I saw it on the stream list, but I couldn't get any streams for it because it was one that I tried to pull up.
We are humped over here. See, I don't agree with regions.
No.
In this day and age, films shouldn't be regional blocking. Makes no sense. It's just an unnecessary barrier, and someone's grifting to just try and get an extra payday with no need. And it's also encouraging piracy.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's always been like that. When VHS was out, we couldn't get certain stuff.
Well, sure. I was explaining to Cameron, like we were talking about Dario Argento.
Yeah.
They were banned in the UK. They were video nasties, and he didn't believe me. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Mate, we couldn't see stuff unless you went to Germany and said the secret password or sneak back." And that was one of the things Border Control always did. Squaddies coming back from Germany with like illicit videos. That was always the thing.
My mate used to sneak them back through RNAS code rows.
Mm-hmm.
And he used to come and say, because the first one that he sneaked back, when it first ever come out, was I Spit on Your Grave. And
yeah,
the original. And he's got, got some video nasties here, and got to watch this. It's banned in this country. And you look at it today, and the reason why it was banned is because the guy held his hand up and they chopped off his fingers and all the blood come. And that's the reason why they banned it. And these days, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it blew his mind when I explained to him how restricted we were, how draconian censorship laws were over here, and actually still are to a degree. Like they're trying to bring them back for the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we were talking about this earlier. Dracula without Van Helsing is like Batman without the Joker, or James Bond without Blofeld. You know, the two go hand in hand.
Yeah. Oh, Peter Cushing, because Whoopi Goldberg wanted to marry him. She would have been Whoopi Cushing.
Oh God! I was wondering how long. Like you've done well, 2 hours, mate. 2 hours without a pun. That's
Well, I didn't know
holding that one in.
I didn't know what Eugene was like, funny wise, but you got to watch your audience. See.
Gene's a good bloke. He's actually shame I didn't get more time with him. Actually, he's I think he had something else going on.
Yeah.
So he's another one. Just hard to get him on, just with scheduling and stuff and time difference.
Mm.
But yeah, God, does that mean? Yeah, we've kind of done that. But now, shall we go for our top 5 Dracula movies out of the whole bunch?
Yeah.
And then go into our top 5 actors, and then we'll give a good people a rest.
Top 5 films would be Dracula 1958, Dracula 1931. So you got Christopher Lee, Bela Lugosi. Then I'd have to go for Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman. I think
Gary Oldman, yeah.
Gary Oldman.
Bram
Stokers Dracula.
I can't even remember any Gary Newman tunes now. And
Cars.
Yeah.
Our Friends Electric. I suppose if we're including Nosferatu, I'd have to go for the old 1920s Nosferatu, because it was originally scary, black and white as well.
That still holds up. Watch that again. Seriously, it holds up.
Yeah.
The coffin scene, the boat scene across the mist.
Yeah.
Done so brilliantly. Like
you don't see that these days.
No.
That's no. I said Gary Oldman, didn't I? Can I include comedy?
Yeah, that's what I said. Just out of
Dead in Loving It. I suppose Renfield as well. So number 5 would be the two tied. Dead in Loving It and Renfield. So favorite actors, you got Christopher Lee, Bela Lugosi. I'd like to see Lon Chaney Jr. Mainly because he's a class actor. Gary Oldman, of course, you couldn't beat Gary Oldman. And for his comedy prowess, I would say Leslie Nielsen, because he's old school. He's whatever he's in, he's always in comedy. Like he's been in some serious things though. He's been in, if you take Columbo, the old detective series with Peter Falk.
Oh yeah,
he was a killer in that.
If he interviewed you first, that was it. You were.
Oh yeah, but all these stars they used to queue up to be in Columbo. They wanted to be guest stars in Columbo, and
you don't get that anymore. That's that excitement.
They were actually offering their services free just to be in Columbo, because whether they took it because Columbo was super big at the time, whether they took it as a thing as a step up to say, hey, look, I'm in Columbo, like sort of thing. I don't know, but
nothing has that part of it.
No.
Shame. But, so I went Dracula 1958.
Yeah.
Bram Stokers Dracula. Like I said, those two, just because of the faithful retelling of the book.
Yeah.
Like Dracula, Prince of Darkness, because that scene with Clove and the dedication to his master just is still powerful to me today. Renfield. God, it just embarrasses me how much I love that movie.
Yeah.
And surprises me that something today can actually come out and make me go, I love this. And I was actually laughing. Like, I've got the Blu-ray, I know, and still bloody laughed. It's still just taken out of being out of the cinema and actually at home going, that's a bloody good movie.
There's not many films that can make you laugh these days like that.
No, not today. Today's just, what? Oh, you're preaching at me again? Okay. See ya. Yeah. So that's brilliant. And Nicola, the scene in the apartment is the bit
where
Renfield's in his apartment and Dracula turns up. in
Yeah.
a smoking jacket. It's that scene just makes you go, holy crap, you are
Yeah.
nailing it.
When he goes, more or less, where have you been? You've been running away from me, sort of thing.
Oh, you do? Like, I'm surprised myself how much I'm gushing about a movie that's come out this year. Like, never mind this decade. Yeah, but that's in the apartment, and what? Where have you been? What have I done? Have I not been a good master to you in just the way?
Yeah, I remember that.
I've got, brilliant. Then it has to be Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Even though I'm going to have to watch it again. I'm afraid to. I'm afraid of losing that magic. Like, it was that sort of. That's what inspired me in the crossovers and the possibilities of anything. And then just fine. I know it's at number 6, but the Satanic Rites of Dracula.
Yeah, it's a good film.
That's just that was kind of gripping in its own way.
Yeah. That's the one where the blood goes through the ice, or is it the one with the staircase?
I think it's the one with the staircase with the cult.
Yeah. And the girl comes down out of the bell.
Yeah, and it's they're trying to bring Dracula back, and
yeah,
it was almost like The Devil Rides Out, but a Dracula movie. No, that sort of style.
Yeah. No, I can see that. Yeah,
it's up there definitely. Did you do the top 5 actors? Did you jump into that?
Yeah, I'd give them as I went along. Christopher Lee, Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney Jr., Gary Oldman, and Leslie Nielsen.
All right, I went Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
How can you not? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There's no question. Sorry, everybody else, but he only tried to beat Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, I put Gary Oldman next because his morphing in that character is just something that, like, the changes as well from the ethereal Dracula to the gentleman on the street. Even morphed into different characters in that one movie.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage had to go up there. He just had to. Like, that man, fair play to you. I was expecting something completely different. And boy, did you surprise me. And then, of course, Bela Lugosi. Would there have been a Dracula in film without Bela Lugosi? Like, let's be honest, Nosferatu would have been forgotten. If they hadn't had the cult following, if Christopher Lee and Bela Lugosi hadn't kept...
Nosferatu would have been the base, but it would have been forgotten because he wasn't called Dracula.
Yeah, because it was Count Orlok instead.
And
that was purely because of...
The book was called Dracula, the original book, wasn't it? And even though it was sort of based on it, it wasn't called Dracula. So
we'll get to this in a wee moment.
Bela Lugosi was the first real Dracula.
Yeah.
And like I said, he was creepily scary. And I think that's what set the basis for the fear that I mentioned about Dracula being.
Like, I can almost argue that Christopher Lee took something from Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
You could see him sort of paying homage to Bela Lugosi's character. Like, he didn't just, I'm Christopher Lee. I don't think Christopher Lee was ever like that. He was an artist as opposed to an ego.
Christopher Lee would have revised the part, and the only person he could look at to think, how do I play this Dracula, would have been Bela Lugosi, perhaps Lon Chaney Jr., but he only played one film. So the only person he really had to look to, or the only two, were two black and white movie stars, Bela Lugosi and Lon Chaney. So, yeah, you could say that there wouldn't be a basis for Dracula without Bela Lugosi, really.
Yeah, or the homage has been paid to him culturally since. Those definitely. I put Duncan Rager next. For Love, but he played Dracula so brilliantly.
Yeah, which film?
That was Love at First Bite.
All right. Yeah.
No, sorry, was that Monster Squad? No, sorry, Monster Squad. Duncan Rager, Monster Squad.
Right.
Yeah, he just had that. I know it was like for a younger audience, but that's just the way he played it. That's it.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Sorry, I'm wrong. That's Van Helsing. Duncan Rager. I'll have to flip and look him up again. I think he was actually Van Helsing. Surprised me there. Give me a second. I should have put notes.
There was just too much to put in notes.
You can't. Yeah, you flipping. No,
I
it is Love at First Bite. Monster Squad. Sorry, Monster Squad and Dracula versus Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Monster Squad. My apologies. I was right the first time. That's what I had. It was just the way he played him. And then was it George? Who was George Howell? Flipping. Guys, you try putting 100 years, 162 appearances into one stream. Like, we're over 2 hours here, and flip's sake, we're still like cliff notes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, it was George Hamilton was Love at First Bite.
Yeah.
Duncan Rager, Monster Squad.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of my top one. I would have said the actor out of Van Helsing would have been close, like honorable mention.
Yeah.
So he really did play a good part.
So that leads us on to the worst.
The worst of the worst, yeah. You've already given yours, but do you want to go again?
Dracula Reborn, 2012. I've got Stuart Rigby.
So I will say your Dracula Reborn, and I will raise you The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires.
So that's 1974.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was good. That was not only an insult to Dracula movies,
wasn't it? Led by Dracula.
Yeah.
Lots of vampires led by Dracula. Yeah.
7 Tibetan vampires. So not only did this insult horror movies and Dracula, but also insulted kung fu movies. I didn't think it was possible to insult across genres, but this movie managed it.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was just insulting. This could have been brilliant.
Was it a Hammer film?
No. They tried to do the Hammer vibes with kung fu, Hong Kong like cinema, and it just failed miserably. It was. God, I hope it wasn't. I'm gonna have to look that up again. It used the same imagery, it used the Hammer horror.
Yeah,
so, you could be mistaken.
You can't equal Hammer horror because it's got its own sort of, it's like a director. You can always tell a different director. Like
no, it was
Ridley Scott. You can tell his style of direction, and Steven Spielberg. You can tell his style.
No, but it had Peter Cushing in it. No, it was a Hong Kong. It was Hong Kong cinema.
Yeah.
Right. It was Hong Kong cinema, but it managed to knock all the worst parts of. Like I grew up in Bruce Lee, for God's sake, and Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung.
Yeah.
I've hung wad with the best of them. They're like, I love that shit. That was brilliant. And they managed to screw it up with this movie.
Yeah.
And Peter Cushing tried, but oh my God, he had an uphill climb. I did a full review of it. It's on the channel if you just want to check it out. And I'll go about like, oh my God, there's this particular scene in the cave, right? And the R stopped the camera cut. So it was meant to be the vampires appeared, but they all walked in. And then it was like the vampires disappeared. And it was like they all stopped. They forgot the camera pan, the vampires and they all just walked off. And the actors stopped. The protagonist stopped and watched them walk off screen. And then they all acted surprised. They've gone. Like you would love it for the mistakes.
Yeah. I'll have to watch that.
And I'll tie this into my worst portrayal, but who's your worst portrayal of Dracula?
It would be that Stuart Rigby from Dracula Reborn.
Like I said, I'll see your Stuart Rigby and I'll raise you John Forbes Robertson.
Yeah.
I mean, wooden plankery at its best. He was insulting as Dracula. He was just, oh God.
Yeah.
I can't even, there's been bad vampire movies. Do you know how bad he is, right? The Twilight movies are better.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that on screen.
Well, this
The
story,
Twilight movies are better than this.
this
And that's
Dracula
got sparkly
Reborn.
vampires and Kristen Stewart.
Dracula Reborn. The person who he first bites on the neck, there's 2 scars. And suddenly the 2 scars move to the other side. And then they move back.
You know, Nicolas Cage did a vampire movie, but it wasn't a Dracula one, where he thought he was Dracula. And he went on like a killing spree. No, he thought he was a vampire. He didn't, because he didn't think he was, because it wasn't actually Dracula and somebody losing their mind. That's why it didn't end up here getting mentioned.
Yeah.
That was an insane movie, and it's better than this. Oh god, that is awful. I mean, just god awful. I was, like I said, I actually hurt from cringe, and then it was actually painful. I think I needed a few beers to review the movie. It was just terrible. Like, if I had a good kung fu scenes,
Yeah.
it would have been good. It could have redeemed itself if I had a decent Dracula, and I had Peter Cushing going, I'm going to fire my agent. You just say him spitting teeth. What the hell am I doing in this movie? I'm going to have words with my agent after this. What the hell?
But you talk about Jackie Chan. He was another actor that does all his own stunts.
Yep. Brilliant. The mall scene from Police Story 2, I think it was.
Yeah.
Where they're basically told, look, you have to do this jump. We're running out of film here. 100 cameras.
Yeah.
If you ever watch, the actual story behind him doing the scene's better than the scene itself.
Yeah.
The scene's amazing. Him jumping off on the lights and sliding down.
Yeah.
Basically, he was told, either do it or this doesn't happen because we're rolling here and we're about to run out of film.
It's one of the rush hours. He has to slide through. He has to lower himself down and slide through one of the old bank tellers' sort of hatches that's about that big. And they show the actual mistake where he slides down, but he gets his legs one either side of one of the bars.
Yeah. Sure, was one of the ones he actually broke his foot, and they actually had this like fake shoe to go over his cast, so he could carry on.
And then they had a scaffolding made of bamboo, and the original idea was him to grab the top of the bamboo and just slide down. Well, it broke, and he landed quite heavily on. I'm not sure if it didn't look like they had any, thing for him to fall on in the place where he fell.
He's a movie out this year with God, I can't remember who it is now. I just saw
he must be getting on there.
It's the wrestler, dude.
What, The Rock?
No. Fuck, I wouldn't watch it. Every time I see The Rock and Big Dumb Johnson, I just immediately switch off. No, John Cena.
John Cena, oh yeah.
Yeah, he's a movie out with him this year. Oh, by the way, shit, sorry, ignoring questions there. We've got 2 Dracula movies coming out this year. So we've got a remake of Nosferatu with Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah.
So, and I think we'll discuss in other streams that 100 years is enough time between remakes. I think that should be a rule now, not 5 minutes.
No.
The way it currently is. And we've also got The Voyage of the Demeter.
Oh, right.
Which Cameron and I are in mixed minds about. He's really looking forward to it, and I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
I just don't know why they're going to make and I'm worried they're going to have survivors, which then destroys the narrative from Dracula of nobody surviving the ship.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Ryan as well. Flip's sake, we're getting everybody in tonight.
I'm just hoping that Nosferatu 2 doesn't take the feeling off the original there, because
I think
that is
there's an actor. There's somebody who's actually an artist. Like, we're talking about the very most of Hollywood's, but there's Bill and I forget his brother's name, but those 2 are genuinely invested in their projects.
Yeah.
There's Barbarian. I covered that a while ago, and that completely surprised me. and I was expecting generic run of the mill and pointing exactly what he was going to be, and he didn't. He played a completely different role.
Let's have a look, because
but
Alexander
Skarsgård,
yeah,
he was in the Northman, wasn't he? Was it Alexander was in the Northman?
I didn't like that film. Didn't like the Northman. I found it quite. Just didn't get it.
Was that a Bob Eggers one?
I don't know.
Robert Eggers, the director of The Witch.
It was one of those films that someone else put on, and I had to sit through it.
Fair enough. I wasn't blown away, but just
yeah.
Still, do you know what it is? It's the amount of blandness out today. It's when you get an out there movie, it's just so refreshing that you're like, finally something not Hollywood.
If someone says
that's why I watch horror movies now almost exclusively, and very rarely will I venture outside the bubble.
If someone says let's watch a movie in my house and they can't decide and they're flicking through all the bloody stuff, I just say stick on Hereditary, and they soon pick a movie. I tell you,
it's more of a threat.
Yeah.
Oh, you'll have half the internet going, it's artful and me. I'm like, nah, mate. Yep. Flat. I think we both agreed. Not the floating scene up to the treehouse was like, what the?
Oh, it was awful. We were laughing in the cinema.
Yeah. Anyway,
I never ever listen to Total Film Magazine now because they give films 5 stars that are absolutely trash.
That's because they're bought and paid for.
Oh yeah.
Access Media just flipping. Please give me a free goodie bag and let me interview the right people or be on the red carpet. I'll get both cheeks. Say your movie's wonderful. Okay. Sure, Rotten Tomatoes is the same.
Yeah.
You can't critic score, audience score, like complete disparity.
Yeah.
You can't. At least one thing, when we get together and review movies or on this channel, at least you know people are genuine. Like, well, I liked it, I didn't like it, and you're getting an honest opinion.
Yeah.
Now, whether you agree with the opinion or not, that's fair enough. At least you know. So if you don't agree with what I say, at least you know if I'm giving an opinion. If I don't like a movie, there's probably a good chance you will like it, or vice versa.
But we're not saying to anyone you can't like this movie. We're giving our opinions on what we think, and more or less trashing them in a way of like when I say about the mistakes.
But I've done that with movies I love as well.
If you can get over the fact that there's mistakes in the movie, that's just me. I look for mistakes. I don't care about the mistakes in the sort of pre-1980s, but after that, there shouldn't be mistakes because they got the technology to say, let's pick this up.
Yeah.
Whereas back when, Dracula's coffin, it wasn't a mistake. It was just something that made me laugh.
Didn't understand the basics.
But this one, like I said, in Reborn, when the things went, it should have been picked up. You should have had a couple of producers there saying,
photographs. They had Polaroid cameras.
Yeah.
All you need, Polaroid camera. Okay, here's the creature. Facts up in the what do you call it? The makeup department's wall.
Yeah.
Pink. Here's the creature. Here's what it looks like.
Yeah.
I used to do that in flipping when I was back in the days when I was chefing.
Yeah.
So you have a dish, right? And you're doing a banquet, or we're doing the officer's mess. So you want everything to look the same. So what I would do was do one plate and then go to my team. Okay, there's the starter. That's what I want.
Yeah.
Okay. Main course. There's the main course. That's what I want.
Yeah.
It goes out like that 500 times. So why couldn't you just, with the Polaroid camera, okay, here's the monster, right? When you go back in the makeup chair, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
It's not hard. I'm no freaking rocket scientist. Anyone who's spoke to me for more than 5 minutes knows that.
Yeah.
But there's always a solution.
Yeah. But I think to make a good Dracula, you've just got to have that experience. Really, yeah. I think it's the sort of role that you need an experienced actor.
Yeah, you can't just jump in cold.
Someone who takes pride in actually researching the book to see this is how Bram Stoker saw the part of Dracula.
Then watch this stream back again. Yeah. Any actors in futures, come back here.
Yeah,
like Calvin's gonna, like, when we're doing our next stream, Calvin will watch this one.
Yeah. Sure I will. Yeah. Woolworths closed about 30 years ago. But I think, and you can't just, it's not a role that you can just, I couldn't just pick it up. If someone said, you play Dracula, I can't. Christopher Lee played Dracula, and he's got, like, the guy's 90 now, and he's 90 something.
He's gone.
Oh, he's dead.
He passed away a couple of years. Yeah, he passed a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Oh, see, totally.
It's hard to believe. He's just such a stamp on society. Yeah. So him and flipping Sean Connery went.
You couldn't fill his shoes because he's the last, apart from Gary Oldman, he's the last really experienced actor that's actually played the role, and you could tell, like I said, that he researched it, whether he read the book or watched Bela Lugosi or both, and he knew what he was doing in the part from the first one that he played.
Bram Stoker's Dracula, by the way, is an easy read. So maybe some people, like, I think Mary Shelley's Frankenstein's a bit heavier. Yeah. It's a bit more of a heavy read. But Bram Stoker's Dracula is actually a really easy book to read, even though it's done in letter writing format.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's done in the prose of friggin' hell, what is his name? Not Van Helsing. The English professor. His letters back and forth.
Yeah.
I need to pick it up again, but it's actually an easy read, and you can visualize the story.
Yeah. It's like Psycho, Psycho's a short story.
Yeah, Robert Bloch.
Yeah. It's just...
He wrote the first two books.
Yeah.
He did 1 and 2. That was both...
yeah. It's if you read the actual thing...
Apart from the psychiatric ward, completely different from the movie.
You'd look at it and think, this was written by someone who, was quite illiterate, really, because it's not the sort of book that you would read of today by one of these top authors, Stephen King or whatever. It's where the writing flows. It's paragraphs are all out, and you think, but it's still a bloody brilliant story, but it's a short story. It's
well, I've read stuff by, obviously, as you know, I've been involved with quite a number of authors, and I was talking on our channel about how to get to you guys, people actually involved with the channel, the sort of core group I have now, the number of people have sort of flown by the radar is, I've lost count, like it's into the hundreds of people I've interacted with.
Yeah.
And some of the stories I've read have been, they've tried to be clever, right? So every word has to be a complicated, highfalutin word, there's phrase and prose, and you just don't get the story.
No.
And it's people, I think it's academics and trying to be intellectual, and they forget, like Hollywood at the moment, they're trying to be high thinkers, high art. They're writing for their peers to get pats in the back. But simple, there's nothing wrong with being simple and telling a simple story.
No.
And if the feelings are, people will understand. So yeah, there might be mistakes, and in our future episode about censorship, that's part of the thing I want to talk about as well, is people are using that as a form of censorship. Oh, you don't speak in this language, so therefore you're not a real horror creator or a real writer, and it's a method of gatekeeping.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean it leads to good storytelling.
No. My biggest concern is that Hollywood in particular are missing the trick, where, like I said, they're relying on a team of scriptwriters to come up with new films, etc. And they should be looking at the bigger picture of there's more than Stephen King in the horror thing, and there's more than some of the other horror. Let's take a look at the unknown ones.
Like all the independent filmmakers that I've talked to in the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knock out movies despite having Colin's in the chat. I'll give him as an example when we talk to him. He's got like a week. He gets it from the studio, right? You've got a week, and that includes editing and post-production to make a movie.
Yeah.
Like, that is mental.
Yeah.
Here's your budget. Grab what you can. Starting from here, we want this done, or we take the money back.
Yeah.
And the bloody do it. And yes, I make fun of his movies and pick them apart, but it's actually done out of love because I understand.
Yeah.
I understand that. Holy shit, I couldn't do that. I'd be flipping right down to the bone, like pulling whatever hair's left and skin off with stress.
What if
Props
you had
to the guy? So
scene?
if he can do it, do you know what I mean? And do it again and again.
Yeah.
You know, independent movie. That's what I said. Fucking ignore Hollywood. Let them have their writer's strike and fucking back an independent movie.
Yeah. Do you know my first ever story I wrote when I was 12 years old? And I had to write something for school. And I wrote about, everyone else wrote all lovey-dovey stuff, you know, the flowers are growing in the fields and everything like that. And I wrote a story about a guy who was going around killing people by throwing a boomerang at them. It would stick in their back instead of coming back to them. And then the teacher actually, everyone else read out their stories in the English lesson. I wasn't allowed to. And my mum went eat shit on him. That's why I wasn't allowed to, because it would scare the other children in the class. Right. Well, just the fact that this boomerang was being chucked at someone and landed in their back and they died. And I remember that.
People will go to an action movie.
Yeah.
And watch people getting blown up, shot, chopped to bits, dropped into helicopter blades. What have they done in the action movies that hasn't been done in horror? You know what I mean? Or sorry, what's been done in the horror that hasn't been done in an action movie?
Yeah.
People falling off cliffs out of windows. The list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But we're getting into another tangent, and I think we'll put the brakes on.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, this could be, and it's we'll end up going through we'll end up doing a live stream to all 116 movies. That'll be 5 days later.
We're on number 6. Let's go to number 7.
Yeah. Nah, it's all right. A bit long in the tooth for that. Those days of I do every other week. I'm like a part of a role playing group, D&D, Dragonlance. And I start at midnight my time. Everyone else is like still early evening. And by 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm just like, right, we need to do some role playing. I need to talk. I'm gonna fall asleep if I just sit here and not say anything. And I'm like 3 cups of coffee in. Imagine that every night. But yeah, this was good. I'm glad we were able to tackle it. That's such a massive. I didn't realize how big this project was.
No, and we could have gone on forever and ever with this one, because there's so many Draculas.
You could actually do it in parts through the decades, but that would have been like a 10-part series of maybe 2 to 3 hours each.
We've cut it down to the best ones, I think.
Yeah,
I think.
Of course, if you've got other ones that we haven't mentioned, in the comments, please let's have the discussion.
Yeah, of course. Because, like I said, on the streaming list, there was some I haven't even heard of the films, and the films aren't on IMDb. Like that, Dracula's Dirty Daughter. I hate to think what that's about.
Yeah, I think there's that type of 70s jazz music playing in the background. God.
Yeah.
I'm actually just outside London, but I'm originally from Northern Ireland. So yeah, I'm on UK time when I'm taking part in those streams. So if you ever wonder why I'm like going or getting randomly hypers because I'm freaking exhausted, and I usually most Saturdays I try to get like a sleep beforehand, but now I just don't. I'm like gaming or doing something. Like I just hardcore the way through. Like I used to do it like no bother in my 20s. Now I'm like it's a bit of stamina required. Still do it though. Still show you young pups what it's about because I don't give up.
My son puts on these Facebook posts, like, "Oh, I'm playing this game, and I'm on this level, and I can't get past it. How do I do this? How do I do this?" And all these minutes of commenting, and I put on a comment like, "You should just ask me. I finished it. I finished the game. It ends. You know, what was that? World of Warcraft, wasn't it? It was just continuous."
Yeah, but that's an open world RPG, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I used to. I'm at the end. I finished it, and he goes, "It's never ending." I says, "I finished it." And that's my favorite thing. Now he knows I'm joking because I say I finished it.
Wind him up.
I'm not a gamer. My gaming experience stops at sort of Tetris, and you can actually get Tetris and pinball on PS5. You know, and that's about my level.
Loads of, I've been if you ever want to laugh, check out my game playing. It's tragic.
Right.
The whole horrific game segment, and it's abysmal.
I was playing Grand Theft Auto with my son on, and he goes, "You've got to do these missions." I says, "Nah, you just knock over everybody on the pavement and get chased by the police car." And that was my outlook for Grand Theft Auto, was just to knock all the people down on the pavement.
Actually, speaking of which, I played Castlevania last week. Because
Yeah.
the game I was trying to play didn't load, so I went and found, I've got an emulator, so I played Castlevania 3. So there's a Dracula game I was playing. Oh, that is bloody hard. Like, those games are relentless. You make one mistake, boom, dead, right back to the start. No save.
He bought me Call of Duty to play. He got it in CEX cheap, and he goes, "This is about your level. Call of Duty." He says, "Shoot them up." So I've got to try that yet. So.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm not the best at flipping shoot 'em ups, but talking of never ending, Dracula will never end.
No,
he is going to continue, and as long as people are afraid of the Dark Lord, there'll be respect. Fear will keep
lasted 100 years, so it's gonna be there forever, I think.
Yeah, that's first 100 years are the hardest. So I think the genre the franchise has some legs still on it.
Yeah,
let's hope that especially this year, these two. I hope I'm wrong about Voice of the Demeter. I really am. I hope I'm wrong about it. I'm just worried.
Yeah,
I'd like to be pleasantly surprised because I just love a good Dracula movie.
I think Cameron should play Dracula with his glasses on.
He could be pretend to be somebody else, and then he takes off his glasses. He's Dracula. You know?
Yeah. Bit like Superman.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Super vampire.
He would. He doesn't care. He'd do it. No problem. Get it.
I'm Dracula. No,
need to get you on a talk spot. Actually, get on one of our Sunday shows end of the month. I'll have to get you on that.
Yeah. Okay.
And do that again. That was fun last time.
Yeah.
Start inviting more people. But anyway, Steve, thanks very much for being on. This has been an absolute blast. Jaden, if you're watching this back retrospectively, sorry you couldn't stay as long, but I really appreciate your time for being here. Once again, it's good to see you again, mate, and hear about your thoughts. It was a good talk. We got, with varying opinions. Mostly we're in lockstep about who Dracula is and what he should be. Great bunch of movies, some better than others, some terrible, but still, it's just shows how inspiring the character is. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Glad you all came on board. It was good to see some interaction. Like that's what makes this channel worthwhile. All you guys jumping in and getting the feedback and helping us go on even more tangents than we normally do, because that's what this show's about. Yeah, with loads coming up this month. August is super busy. check out the main YouTube channel. You'll see our upcoming live streams. I'm sure we'll have this man back on again before too long. There'll be random reviews as well in between. But there you go. Keep up to date with the channel. Do the typey clicky things. And until next time, keep it creepy. Keep it horrific.